Chapter 2201. Qin Yun's Shenruoming's eyes lit up with hope, and he can't help but reveal a simple and honest smile. Qin Yun has seen many people like Shenruoming who are filled with hope and confidence. What he likes to do the most is to completely shatter the hope and confidence of such people. I've been letting out blood for a long time and lost a lot of it. Let me rest, can't you? Qin Yun said. How long? Is 1 hour enough? Shen Changhao said. Enough. Qin Yun took out the floating cloud pagoda and entered it. He really wants to rest, but it is not because he lost a lot of blood. He lost a lot of purple blood, but with the divine universe purple sun's energy, he recovered very quickly. It can be said that he did not consume much energy. Qin Yun only wants to let the Nine Sun divine spirit rest. Because the Nine Sun divine spirit constantly absorbs the divine universe purple sun's energy and cooperates with the Nine Dragon heavenly origin formation, it will cause damage to the runes inside the Nine Sun divine spirit. In addition, Qin Yun needs to prepare to face the elders of powerful races. In Qin Yun's opinion, Shenruoming is a bit thorny, but it is not a big problem. Qin Yun's biggest problem is how to deal with Marquis Shi and his group after defeating Shenruoming and obtaining the divine heaven bloodline divine source. Marquis Shi's son was killed by Qin Yun. A large number of youths from the divine star and divine sword race have been killed by Qin Yun. Even if the divine judge is here, they will not let Qin Yun off. After resting, Qin Yun walked out of the floating cloud pagoda and signed a soul contract with Shen Changhao. The divine sky race protecting the Nine-Yang divine palace is very important to Qin Yun. Qin Yun's current cultivation has not increased. His strength is limited. If he faces the attack of many powerful races, he will face great pressure. If the divine sky race is there, then he has nothing to fear. Shenruoming's origin sword is that thin sword. It looks very thin, but it is extremely dangerous. Qin Yun does not have a weapon. During battle, he cannot use other equipment to fight. Under this kind of battle rules, facing a powerful sword cultivator like Shenruoming, he will definitely be at a disadvantage. However, Qin Yun is not afraid at all. Qin Yun, even if you defeat Divine Sky Race's Shenruoming, it does not mean that the Divine Saber truly belongs to you. Marquis Shi stood at the side of the battlefield and said coldly, "You still have to get past us. Furthermore, I will definitely avenge the death of my son." Qin Yun did not even look at Marquis Shi. Marquis Shi was very strong, but Qin Yun thought nothing of him. Mo Du Tian and the nameless old man also want to see how Qin Yun will defeat Shenruoming. Shenruoming's sword had already been unsheathed. That sword aura filled the battlefield, bringing with it a cold and arrogant aura. It looked like Shenruoming himself. "Didn't you say that once your sword is unsheathed, someone will die?" Qin Yun said with a smile. "Then between you and me, one of us must die today, right? My sword has killed enough people. There will be a day when no one will die." Shenruoming knows that his goal is only to defeat Qin Yun. He could not kill Qin Yun, otherwise he would not be able to obtain that divine saber. Only by obtaining that divine saber would he be able to use the myriad divine saber to strengthen his origin sword. Shen Changhao said coldly, "Is everything ready? Begin." The battle began. Shenruoming held his sword and stood at his original position, pointing it at Qin Yun, motionless. A powerful sword aura formed around his body. Shenruoming did not attack. Instead, he waited for Qin Yun to attack. When everyone saw this scene, they were all astonished, especially the elders of the powerful races. They all exclaimed in admiration. This Shenruoming's sword Dao attainment is actually so profound. He has already reached the stage of man and sword unity. A middle-aged man from the divine sword race said in shock, "Wufeng, Shenruoming's sword Dao level is extremely high. Did you see his origin sword seems to have a life of its own? It has its own unique aura and soul." Divine Judge said, "His origin divine sword is very strong, even stronger than mine." Xiao Wufeng said, "But in terms of sword Dao attainment, we should be about the same." Marquis Shi gritted his teeth and snorted. Shenruoming is the descendant of the heavenly sword king noble. He obtained the heavenly sword king noble's origin sword inheritance. Isn't it normal for him to have this kind of level? Shinruoming is just standing there, pointing his sword at Qin Yun and releasing an incomparably marvelous aura. It is as if his entire being has fused with the heaven and earth. Looking at Shinruoming, they can only feel that he is a sharp sword. As long as they lock onto him, it will be difficult for them to escape. Yushi said, this guy cultivates sword Tao that allows him to fuse with the heavenly Tao. When he fights, he can use formidable heavenly Tao power. The moment he attacks, he can use the heavenly Tao power to form a formidable heavenly formation or heavenly rune to attack. Only those experts can see how formidable Shinruoming is, and they're all somewhat horrified in their hearts. To be able to cultivate such a talented sword cultivator like Shinruoming, it is clear that the heavenly Sword King Noble is even more dreadful. Palace King, you must be careful, Yushi warned. This guy is very strong, especially his sword Tao power. Qinyan said, really? Why can you see that he is very strong? And why can't I see it? Everyone immediately burst into an uproar. Can't see how formidable Shinruoming is? Then how can they fight? Someone from the divine heaven race said with sneer. You can't even see how strong your opponent is. How are you going to fight? Marquis, she said with sneer. This guy truly doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. He doesn't know that he is facing a strong enemy. It seems like he is going to lose for sure. It is also good that he loses that saber. It will be easier to deal with him. Shinruoming's expression is cold. He said to Qin Yun, your cultivation is far below mine. I will let you make the first move. I've been waiting for you for a long time, come. Qin Yun took a deep breath. Suddenly, a ball of flame appeared in his palm. That ball of flame slowly condensed into a hammer. This is a hammer condensed from divine power. It is not a weapon, so it does not violate the previous agreement. A weapon condensed from divine power is just a lump of mud in my eyes. You plan on using this to contend against my origin sword? Shinruoming cannot help but laugh. Don't look down on my hammer. It will show you what is called despair. Qin Yun said with an indifferent smile. The divine hammer in his hand is not simple. It is a hammer condensed from the divine hammer Tao Meridian. Furthermore, the divine hammer Tao image was cultivated by the Nether Sun long ago. After being tempered by the Nether Sun for many years, coupled with the mysterious and powerful Nether Sun totem, it is very powerful. It can be said that the divine hammer in Qin Yun's hand is not condensed from divine power. It is his origin divine weapon. There is also a small dragon coiled around the handle of the hammer. It is the power of the divine dragon Tao image. And the hammer's face is a heavenly lion head filled with ferocious aura. It is the heavenly lion Tao image. Heavenly lion, divine hammer, divine dragon. These are the three divine, profound Tao images that Qin Yun cultivated the earliest. Although the heavenly lion Tao image has not opened the Xian divine Tao meridian, it still possesses formidable power. Quickly come over. Shinruoming's cold and arrogant eyes are filled with impatience. Shinruoming, have you ever experienced despair? After Qin Yun finished speaking, his eyes suddenly flashed with a dragon-like lightning. It is the Thunderlock Sacred Pupil. The Thunderlock Sacred Pupil is activated through the Divine Dragon Tao image and the Divine Cauldron Tao image. After the lightning shot out, it directly transformed into a cauldron condensed from lightning and enveloped Shinruoming. Boom! Qin Yun took a step forward. After the 9 extinction steps was transformed into the Heaven Extinction Steps, the Life Extinction 9 steps was still preserved. Moreover, it was strengthened by Yang Shiryu and became the Heaven Extinction 9 steps. Boom, boom, boom. Qin Yun took 9 steps in a row and arrived in front of Shinruoming. Shinruoming just broke free from the Thunderlock Sacred Pupil and was about to attack with his sword when his expression suddenly changed, because he felt that his body is incomparably heavy. Qin Yun and Ling Yun joined hands and released the supergravity of the dual Nether Sun and pressed down on Shinruoming's body. I'll let you be arrogant. Qin Yun's hammer smashed down on Shinruoming's origin sword. Clang! With just one hammer strike, Shinruoming's origin sword directly shattered. After the divine hammer's explosive power shattered the origin sword, it directly struck Shinruoming's chest. The explosion caused the clothes on Shinruoming's chest to split open. His skin and flesh burst open. His sternum shattered and blood and flesh splattered out. Shinruoming was sent flying. His face is filled with fear and disbelief. His body is heavily injured, but he can recover. The biggest blow to him is a mental one. He was actually defeated in one strike by someone else. Moreover, his opponent's cultivation is so much lower than his, and the weapon he used is a hammer condensed from divine power. Shinruoming is like a dead dog that has lost its direction in life. He heavily landed on the ground. His entire person is at a loss. His face is filled with doubt. He is not in pain, but his mind has suffered an incomparably intense blow. Everyone present was shocked to the extreme. Qinyan said before that he could not see how strong Shinruoming's sword Dao is. It is not because his eyesight is bad, but because he is too strong. No matter how strong his opponent is, he cannot see it. Hand over the bloodline divine source. Qinyan looked at Shen Changhao. His voice is filled with formidable might. Your divine heaven race must watch over the 9 Yang divine palace. Just like a watchdog, obediently watch for 10 years. Shen Changhao's face is twitching. He is so angry that he wished he could kill Qinyan with one punch. But there is nothing he could do. Watchdog watched for 10 years. Their divine heaven race is one of the top 3 races among the powerful ancient races. But now, they are being ordered around like watchdogs. Although my 9 Yang divine palace has declined, although it is not very good, I still have the divine heaven race to be my watchdog. Qinyan's eyes are filled with arrogant aura as he swept his gaze over all the powerful races. 9 Yang divine palaces, Dragon Palace Elder and Sword Palace Elder also sense the Palace King's might. It is indeed the same as the legends. Just wait, 10 years later, Shen Changhao took out their bloodline divine source. It is a white pearl and threw it to Qinyan. Qinyan caught the bloodline divine source and pressed it into his abdomen. He sent the bloodline divine source into the nether sun to fuse with it. Divine heaven race has lost. Look at our divine star race. Divine star race's middle-aged man shouted, Xing Feihai, come out and defeat him. Xing Feihai is a youngster. Earlier, he followed the older generation to attack the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation, so he was not attacked. Qinyan, you really need the bloodline divine source, right? If you defeat me, you can obtain the divine star race's bloodline divine source. A few small stars floated around Xing Feihai's body. Come, just like before, I will represent the divine star race. Qinyan said with sneer. Who do you think you are? Who do you think the divine star race is? Do you think you are qualified to fight me fairly? I kill you like slaughtering dogs. Why should I fight you fairly? Chapter 2202. Xing Feihai originally thought that they could compete with Qinyan using their bloodline divine origin, like the divine heavenly race, and win the divine saber. The overall strength of the divine star race is also pretty good. The reason why Xing Feihai and the other elders attacked Qinyan is mainly because his cultivation is relatively high. If he were to fight, he has a high chance of defeating Qinyan without any equipment. Qinyan released the altar and held the myriad heaven divine saber in his hand. He condensed all the power in his body and instantly arrived beside Xing Feihai. This sudden attack caught everyone unprepared. Because the divine judge is here, even if those strong races hate Qinyan, they don't dare to act blindly without thinking. Otherwise, they would definitely besiege Qinyan again. But now, Qinyan is attacking them. Xing Feihai's body is surrounded by 7 watermelon-sized, beautiful stars. With a single glance, one can tell that they are his divine, profound Tao image. He is the person of the 7 divine, profound Tao image. The 7 small stars surrounding Xing Feihai's body can form a very powerful offensive and defensive barrier. Bastard, are you here to die? Xing Feihai saw Qinyan fiercely flying over and shouted angrily. Qinyan directly rushed over. the 9 altars on his body activated the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation. It is even more powerful. In addition, the myriad heaven divine saber in his hand chopped down. The explosive power caused Xing Feihai's expression to greatly change as he cried out in fear. The myriad heaven divine saber flickered with purple-red light and chopped down, causing a loud explosion. Intense divine universe purple energy surged out like a monstrous wave. Xing Feihai's 7 divine, profound Tao images transformed into stars were instantly shattered, and his body was devoured and torn apart by the powerful and vicious purple-red saber energy. Not even a single dregs remained. Just one saber strike was enough to destroy a genius of a strong race like Xing Feihai. This caused the elders of the strong races to covet the myriad heaven divine saber even more. The might of the myriad heaven divine saber was indeed displayed just now and is truly terrifying. Of course, they don't know that the reason why the myriad heaven divine saber is so powerful is mainly because of the 9 desolate divine sabers foundation. In addition to the divine, universe, purple sun within the 9 sun divine spirit and a powerful body, it can erupt with this kind of power. If it was anyone else, it would be difficult for them to release this kind of power. After Xing Feihai's body was devoured by the saber chi, it shattered and turned into a purplish-red mist that spread out. No one could see his expression before he died. "Be Astra's starred, I'll kill you." The elder of the divine star race was enraged. A few elders of the divine star race immediately flew over and surrounded Qin. They blasted out waves of powerful divine power from all directions. All of a sudden, a storm of star divine power was stirred up in the entire middle hall. The place where Qin Yun was standing was engulfed by all kinds of tyrannical star divine power. He was completely drowned by the star divine power of those seniors. The chief divine judge was caught off guard by this scene. He had thought that the battle would come to an end with his presence. He never thought that Qin Yun would start a new war because the Chaos race, the Divine Star race, and the Divine Sword race no longer had any intention of fighting. Although the Middle Palace Hall was very stable, after experiencing many fierce battles, the barrier inside was gradually being consumed, and there were signs of it breaking. Suddenly, the middle hall trembled slightly. The ground cracked. This meant that the entire Sword Sun Hall was about to be destroyed. 9 Sun Palace King, please give me some face and temporarily stop. The chief divine judge said in a clear voice. These guys wanted to kill me just now. How could I let them go? Qin Yun replied coldly and proudly. No one could see the situation inside the battlefield because it was enveloped by the tyrannical star divine power. But hearing Qin Yun's voice, they knew that he was still in good condition. Lu Yu and Shu Yin could not intervene in this kind of battle. Even the chief divine judge found it extremely troublesome. The divine sky race, the divine moon race, the heavenly devil god race, and the others all warned themselves not to provoke Qin Yun. Otherwise, it would be very troublesome if they were entangled with him. It wasn't just the entire Sword Sun Hall that was shaking. Even the entire Sword Sun Sacred Mountain was shaking. The 5 elders of the divine star race stopped because they knew that even if they continued to attack, they would not be able to break through the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation's defense. After they stopped, they discovered that the 9 altars beside Qin Yun were not floating in the air. Instead, they were on the ground. The 9 altars on the ground gradually became a lot bigger. Roar! Golden light appeared on the surface of the altar. Dragon roar echoed in all directions. It has a kind of arrogant might that disdains the heaven and earth. Qin Yun's eyes became incomparably black and surged with black gas. Yuner, let's join hands and activate the twin nether suns to devour the energy of the Sword Sun, Divine Mountain. Qin Yun said in his heart. All right, Ling Yuner nodded. The 9-dragon heavenly origin formation seems to have fused with Qin Yun. Qin Yun wanted to devour, so the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation released a formidable devouring power. The 9-dragon heavenly origin formation operated, sending many devouring power into the depths of the Sword Sun Divine Mountain. Together with Qin Yun and Ling Yun'er's nether sons, they extracted the entire Sword Sun Divine Mountain's energy. The Sword Sun Divine Mountain is a treasure land, and it can also give birth to the myriad Heaven Divine Sword. It must be hiding a very strong energy. Now, it is being extracted by the Nine-Dragon Heavenly Origin Formation. The Sword Sun Divine Mountain is trembling violently. It could collapse at any time. And the people near the Sword Sun Divine Mountain all moved far away. They don't know what is happening inside. They only know that the myriad Heaven Divine Sword is about to appear, so it is normal for there to be some big movements. The Nine-Dragon Heavenly Origin Formation obtained the powerful energy of the Sword Sun Divine Mountain and released an incomparably vigorous divine power. That is the power of the myriad realms' divine sun. Although Qin Yun has the divine universe purple sun, in order to release it, he would first have to go through the Nine-Sun Divine Spirit, so it would be somewhat restricted. And at this moment, the Nine-Dragon Heavenly Origin Formation directly absorbed the power of the myriad realms' divine sun from the Sword Sun Divine Mountain, making the formation even more terrifying. Everyone, hurry up and join hands to get rid of him. Marquis, she suddenly shouted. There are still dukes and some seniors outside. If we can't even get rid of this guy, we will be punished by them. The Divine Star Race, Primal Chaos Race, and Divine Sword Race. These three great races have a total of more than 10 people. They know how terrifying the Nine-Dragon Heavenly Origin Formation is. They also know that if this continues, they won't have enough strength to kill Qin Yun. If they would be beaten to the point of fleeing, it would be extremely embarrassing. The three great races, as well as the Marquis and Earls, are actually unable to deal with the declining Nine-Yang Palace King. Everyone knew that back then, the Nine-Yang Palace King was suppressed and oppressed by the heavenly law divine domain for several lifetimes. Marquis Shi and the other dozen or so elders all took out all sorts of powerful divine weapons, divine talismans, and divine-level magic treasures. These divine talismans and divine artifacts that came from powerful races were all very strong and very precious. Boom, boom. A large number of divine talismans were thrown out. An incomparably intense explosion directly destroyed the entire Sword Sun Great Hall. The Sword Sun Great Hall at the top of the Sword Sun Divine Mountain was blasted apart, and a large amount of it flew out along with the shockwaves. The other spectators had also released a very strong barrier just now. Then, they flew out of the whirlpool of the Great Formation and watched from the sky. Xia Wufeng and the Divine Judge were extremely anxious at this moment because they had no idea how to intervene because both sides were fighting extremely intensely. After the Sword Sun Great Hall was blown up, the big ships floating around the peak of the Sword Sun and the big shots of the powerful races were all alarmed. One had to know that there were dukes from powerful races in those big ships. They only wanted to see who the myriad Heaven Divine Sword belonged to. Now that the fight over was so intense, it was beyond their expectations. The Sword Sun Divine Mountain's barrier had been completely destroyed. The energy within had been devoured by the 9 altars. The 9 Dragons' Heavenly Origin Array was at full power, emitting a sound wave that resembled the roar of 9 dragons. It blasted away the various powerful races' divine powers that enveloped the Great Formation. Everyone in the sky could see the center of the 9 Dragons' Heavenly Origin Array suddenly emit a sound wave that transformed into a ripple. All sorts of violent divine powers that emitted intense light were pushed away by the ripple. Qin Yun and the 9 Dragons' Heavenly Origin Array had finally appeared. The 9 altars became incomparably large, like 9 10,000-foot tall mountains that enveloped Qin Yun. Upon sensing the terror of the 9 Dragons' Heavenly Origin Array, Marquis Shi and the other elders of the powerful races were secretly alarmed. They knew that they had lost the upper hand and were unable to do anything to the Great Formation. Just as they were about to escape, they suddenly felt a spatial fluctuation. Transcendence. Qin Yun chanted in his heart as his body flashed. He teleported with the 9 gigantic altars and arrived beside Marquis Shi and company. Marquis Shi and company were trapped within the 9 Dragons' Heavenly Origin Array. Being inside the nine dragons' heavenly origin array meant that they were meat on the chopping block. The interior of the array was Qin Yun's domain. "You, Marquis," she shouted in shock and anger. His body was immobilized. More than a dozen of them were trapped within the nine dragons' heavenly origin array. They were unable to move. "Chaos race? From this day forth, I will no longer be afraid of you." Qin Yun roared as the myriad heaven divine saber descended. Condensing the nine dragons' heavenly origin array's power, it slashed at Marquis Shi. Boom! Intense light surged as a shock wave surged like a raging wave. Marquis Shi was slain with a single strike. The other elders of the powerful races vomited blood and roared angrily. Qin Yun swept his cold gaze over. The myriad heaven divine saber moved with a thought as it swept out. The saber force seemed to slice through the heavens, instantly killing the elders of the powerful races. Around the Sword Sun God Mountain were the Divine Sword race, the Chaos race, and the Divine Star race's dukes and marquises. They were immediately enraged when they saw the elders of their races being killed. The Divine Judge, Xia Wufeng, Yushi, Shen Ruoming, Mo Fanzhan, and many other experts were dumbfounded. When I cultivate all the profound God Tao veins, I won't even need the nine dragons' heavenly origin array to kill the dukes and marquises of the powerful races. Qin Yun looked at the large ships and the stars floating around him. Then he slashed down at the Sword Sun God Mountain below. The incomparably gigantic Sword Sun God Mountain was penetrated to the bottom by the myriad heaven divine saber force. It was smashed to pieces and collapsed. The ground shook incessantly as smoke and dust billowed and boulders flew everywhere. The nine altars became much smaller, but they continued to circle around Qin Yun. Chapter 2203. Qin Yun's current strength is not enough to fight against many powerful dukes and marquises. Divine Sword Race, Primal Chaos Race, and Divine Star Race have many elders. If he's besieged by them, it will be very difficult to resist. Qin Yun used spatial divine power to escape. Divine Sword Race, Primal Chaos Race, and Divine Star Race immediately sent people to chase after him. But they lost their target in a short while. That is because Qin Yun let Little Ant Queen take him to hide in the tyrannical space. With the strength of Qin Yun's body, even if he falls into the tyrannical space, he can still endure. While hiding in the tyrannical space, Qin Yun suddenly saw a woman with a veil covering her face. She is wearing light and elegant white dress. Xiaoxi. Qin Yun looked at that pair of ice-cold, yet somewhat tender, beautiful eyes and lightly shouted, "You don't even recognize me?" Yushi lightly groaned and said, "You think I'm Sister Bing Xing?" Qin Yun laughed and said, "Of course not. It's just that you two are becoming more and more alike. Is it because you are together often? You Tian should also be the same, right?" When Yushi was still Princess Dark Knight, both Qin Yun and her had not recovered their memories. Therefore, when Qin Yun saw that she has the same appearance as Bing Xing, he felt very puzzled. Later he learned that among the 9 Sun Divine Maidens, Yu Tian and Bing Xing all have the same appearance. If you saw Sister Tian, you wouldn't say that. Although she looks the same as us, she doesn't look like us at all. Yushi's beautiful eyes looked all around and said, "You can really hide. It was very difficult for me to find you." Did Sister Bing Xing and the others go back? Qin Yun asked. This time it was too hasty. I didn't even have time to talk to them. They left with Big Sister Yu Li Yuan of Divine Moon Race. Yushi said, took out a sword and handed it to Qin Yun. This sword is the 9 Sun Emperor sword. When Yushi handed it over, the sword suddenly split into 9. Moreover, they are quite big and floated beside Qin Yun. You promised me that you would help me refine a 9-dragon heavenly origin formation. Yushi finished speaking and took out 9 Gemini heavenly rune beads. These are the Gemini heavenly rune beads that Sister Kong and Yin Yin gave me. I will help you get them as soon as possible. Qin Yun put it away and asked, Sister Shu Yin and the rest have left with the Divine Moon Clan. What are they going to do? The God Moon Clan and the God Moon world have some relationship. We have been in contact before. This time we are just going to discuss some matters. Yushi said, Xiao Yun, do you really need the bloodline divine source? Qin Yun quickly nodded and said, yes, the more the better. He knew very well that it was getting more and more difficult for his physical body to continue to improve. Although he had the divine sky race's bloodline divine source, it was far from enough, because he wanted to open 10 profound God Dao veins. Then I'll ask the God Moon clan to give us some bloodline divine source. I'll leave one for you. Yushi's cold and beautiful face showed a charming smile. Although it was only a slight smile, it was extremely charming. Xiaoxi, what has that girl Yuanmei been doing recently? I haven't seen her for a long time. I really miss her. Qinyan gently caressed Yushi's jade-like face. Yushi said, she went to complete her mission. I heard she went together with Yu Qing. Love? What was she going to do with this dragon girl? Didn't she say she would complete it on her own? She didn't take me, but instead took her. Qinyan shook his head and smiled. Yu Qing has an unusual relationship with her. In short, Yu Qing is a dragon, moreover a very special dragon. She established some kind of contract with Yuanmei, so she can help Yuanmei complete her mission. Yushi said, Xiaoxi, don't your 9-son divine maiden have a lot of missions? What exactly are they? Qin Yun is very curious about this matter. One after another, but there is no other way. We were born for this. Only by completing it can we become stronger. Yushi is also very helpless. She said with light smile, Xiao Yun, you don't need to worry about me. It's you who makes us very worried. Qin Yun embraced her and said with smile, Xiaoxi, you and I have known each other for many years. When the 9-son royal family rose to power, you and I were the witnesses. Now we can both be considered 9-son royal family. Your 9-son divine palace has appeared again, and I am a 9-son royal family's clan emperor. Other powerful races have appeared. It seems like we will have to pass through this golden age together. Yushi's expression is filled with reminiscence. We will face all kind of dangers. Maybe this is what we must experience. Qin Yun indifferently smiled. You can rest assured, nothing will happen to me. Yushi lightly groaned and said, our common mission is to protect you. How can we not worry about you? All 9-son divine maidens have a common mission. That is to protect Qin Yun. As for why, Qin Yun also doesn't know. He feels that it is related to his true identity. Those powerful races outside are jumping up and down in anger. They are looking for Qin Yun everywhere. But Qin Yun and Yushi are hiding and hugging each other. If they find out, they will surely become even more furious. Oh, that's right. Why are those powerful races so afraid of you 9-son divine maidens? Qin Yun is very puzzled. Those primal chaos race fellows knew that Yuelon is a 9-son divine maiden, but they still wanted to capture her. Yushi said, those fellows who tried to capture Yuelon didn't know the severity of the situation. Plus, Yuelon's cultivation is not high. That's why they dared to attack. Now that they know that we 9-son divine maidens are still here, they don't dare. That Shinraming from before was very afraid of Sister Bingxing. Qin Yun said, why would they be afraid of you? He even said that you want to enter transformation realm or something. Ignore him. Yushi used her lily-white hand to gently cover Qin Yun's mouth and said, don't think too much. Myriad Heaven's divine desolate has appeared. Nothing can be predicted. Moreover, many things, many laws are changing. Qin Yun said with smile, Xiaoxi, come help me. We will make the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation together. I can't. I still have things to do. Next time I come to find you, I will conveniently give you the divine moon, bloodline, divine origin. Yushi said, is it 9-son divine maiden's mission? Qin Yun asked, yes, Myriad Realm's divine son needs our help. This is rather complicated. We will use Myriad Heaven's divine moon's guidance and power to help Myriad Realm's divine sun grow. Yushi said, this requires us to go to various places in Myriad Heaven's divine desolate to help perfect Myriad Realm's divine Sunday. We will set up a great formation in Myriad Heaven's divine desolate. Qin Yun also realized that Myriad Realm's divine sun, Myriad Heaven's divine moon, and 9-son divine maiden are all closely related. However, He still doesn't understand why 9 Sun Divine Maiden has a common mission to protect him. How about this? I'll let Yu Tian help you. Yushi said. Heaven Creation Palace Master Yu Tian? Qin Yun said. She should be both familiar and unfamiliar to me, right? Yu Tian and Yushi's souls fuse together, so their memories are interlinked. It is a very strange state. Therefore, Yu Tian is very familiar with Qin Yun, but Qin Yun doesn't know much about Yu Tian. Don't worry, Yu Tian is very easy to get along with. Yushi said. She was the palace master of Heaven Creation Divine Palace back then, but that Heaven Creation Divine Palace is only in the Sun's sacred land. It is not the strongest Heaven Creation Divine Palace. I know this, Qin Yun said with frown. I heard that the current Heaven Creation Divine Palace is also involved in the matter of Myriad Realms Divine Court. Were there people from Heaven Creation Divine Palace in the Middle Palace Hall before? When Qin Yun was in the Middle Palace Hall, he saw many people, but he didn't know who were from Heaven Creation Divine Palace. Of course there are. They won't do anything to you. They can't do anything to you. Yushi said. Yu Tian is very familiar with the matters of Heaven Creation Divine Palace. She's often in contact with Heaven Creation Divine Palace people. Qin Yun nodded and said, How about this? Let her come to 9 Sun Divine Palace to find me. Speaking of 9 Sun Divine Palace, Yushi can't help but laugh and said, Palace King, do you need help with your 9 Sun Divine Palace? You, Palace King, are still the same as before. You like to stir up trouble. But your current 9 Sun Divine Palace is not as strong as before. Don't worry, Divine Heaven Race will help me. Qin Yun laughed and said, Divine Heaven Race is also very depressed, especially the old man who promised Qin Yun to protect the 9 Sun Divine Condor for 10 years. He now wants to die. Don't talk about protecting the 9 Sun Divine Condor for 10 years. Even protecting the 9 Sun Divine Condor for a year is unbearable. Divine Heaven Race really didn't know that Qin Yun was so good at stirring up trouble. It seems like he is deliberately swindling them. Divine Heaven Race is very strong among the strong races. Even they were swindled by you, Palace King. Yushi can't help but chuckle. She is different from Bing Xing. When she is happy, she has a completely different appearance. Yushi Race's Empress, you shoulder a heavy responsibility. You must restore the 9 Sun royal family. Qin Yun said with mischievous smile. You are the lover of Yushi Race's Empress. You must help me share a bit of the responsibility. Yushi stuck out her tongue and said with smile. In the past, didn't I, the 9 Sun Palace King, secretly help many 9 Sun royal family? Naturally, I will help them now, Qin Yun said. Then you should quickly go back to 9 Sun Divine Palace and make arrangements. Divine Heaven Race should immediately send people over. You should at least receive them. Yushi said. I know, my Empress Yushi. Qin Yun smiled and kissed her face. After Yushi and Qin Yun left the tyrannical space, they arrived at Divine Desolate Space and kissed for a while before separating. Qin Yun quickly returned to 9 Sun Divine Palace. He knows that the outside of 9 Sun Divine Palace will become very lively. Dog God, Evil God, and others are all on Mo Dutian's large flying boat. They're going to 9 Sun Divine Palace with Mo Dutian. They recalled the shocking battle just now, and their mood is still very excited. Brother Dog, do you think Master Qin will hide far away and only appear after thousands of years? Mo Dutian asked in low voice. He has thoroughly offended Divine Star Race, Divine Sword Race, and Primal Chaos Race. Moreover, he has so many good things on him, Dog God said. He won't. Boss will immediately return to 9 Sun Divine Palace. Divine Heaven Race will indeed protect 9 Sun Divine Palace. But only for 10 years. After 10 years, 9 Sun Divine Palace will surely be in big trouble. Although Mo Dutian was tricked by Qin Yun, he doesn't dare to hold a grudge. Otherwise, even 10 of him won't be enough to kill him. Instead, he is very worried about Qin Yun. Chapter 2204. Seeing the Divine Judge's ship quickly flying towards the 9 Yang Divine Palace, Missouri Dutian is very worried. Previously in the Middle Palace Hall, Master Qin made a big move and completely disregarded the dignity of the Divine Judge. Could it be that the Divine Judge is going to cause trouble for Master Qin? Mo Dutian said, the Divine Judge's heaven's divine punishment flag is still very strong. If he fights with Boss, the result will be hard to say. Dog God is also somewhat worried. We don't need to worry too much. If the Divine Judge wanted to make a move, he would have already done so. His mind said, Boss is, after all, the king of the gods and has the Divine King heavenly seal in his hand. The Divine Judge should be going to discuss some matters with him. Not long after the Divine Judge's ship flew past, another huge golden ship quickly flew past. Moreover, it is flying through space. It swept past Mo Dutian's flying ship like a ray of light. That's the Heaven Creation God Palace's ship. Mo Dutian shouted in shock. Heaven Creation God Palace is also going to the Nine Yang Divine Palace. Legend has it that the Nine Yang Divine Palace and the Heaven Creation God Palace had a lot of connections and cooperated with each other. Now that the Nine Yang Palace King has returned, they naturally want to find the Palace King and have a chat. Dog God said. The Dog God had also inquired about the matters of the Nine Yang Divine Palace back then. The main source was from the heavenly Law Divine realm. Qin Yun is also returning to the Nine Yang Divine Palace. He was the first to arrive there, and he quietly returned. No one knew that he had returned. Under the illumination of the myriad realms' divine sun, the Nine Yang Divine Palace is resplendent and magnificent. When absorbing the divine power of the myriad realms' divine sun, it blossomed with golden splendor and multicolored energy. Looking from afar, it has a kind of visual shock and impact. Floating near the Nine Yang Divine Palace, one can even feel the vicissitudes and grandeur of the primordial era. The vicinity of this huge and ancient divine palace is also surging with wind and clouds. Many huge ships are floating around. Coupled with the majestic divine palace, it is even more shocking. Nine Yang Divine Palace, Heavenly Palace. The sweet and exquisite, lively little palace spirit immediately felt a lot more at ease when she saw Qin Yun return. Big Brother Palace King, there are many big ships outside. I will activate the Great Formation and send out a warning. Don't let them come close. Tell White Commander, don't let the Primal Chaos, Divine Sword Race, and Divine Star Race come in. If someone from the Divine Heaven Race comes, feel free to command them. Qin Yun said with a smile, and then walked into the Heavenly Palace Pavilion. Yes, the little palace spirit could already sense that Qin Yun's aura was even stronger than the Hall King's from back then. Baici did not go to the Sword Sun God Mountain. She was the chief steward, so she had to stay here to manage things. Now that so many ships had suddenly appeared, she was also shocked. Then, she received a transmission from the Little Temple Spirit. The Little Temple Spirit was communicating with her through telepathy. Baici had never seen the Little Temple Spirit before. After hearing the Little Hall Spirit's orders, Baici was also confused. She anxiously paced back and forth in the Great Hall of the Nine Yang Divine Palace. The Sword Halls and Dragon Halls elders also brought a group of people and hurriedly returned. Seeing that these two elders were able to return, Baici felt a lot more at ease. Granny Qianghua and Medicine King Qin also came back. Our king will be here soon. Grandma Jasper said. What happened? Why were there so many warships gathering outside? Are they going to attack our Nine Yang Divine Palace? Baici asked. Chief Steward Bai, the Palace King has returned. His name is Qin Yun. He is also the Qin Fei who entered the Heavenly Palace. The Dragon Hall's elders said somewhat excitedly. Then, the elders all talked about the matter of the Sword Sun God Mountain and informed all the elders in the Nine Yang Divine Palace. When the elders heard that the Palace King had returned, they were all shocked and excited. Especially Baici. She was the most shocked. She also thought of many things. She once told Qin Yun about the death of her father, White Tiger. At that time, she saw that Qin Yun was very angry. Qin Yun even said that he would help her take revenge. Then Qin Yun's performance in the Dragon Palace's Hidden Dragon Arena. So that was their Palace King. Where's the Palace King? Baici promptly asked. He should have returned. Did you see him? The Sword Hall's elder asked. No, but the palace spirit instructed me to do something, Bai Si said with a frown. The palace king might not have returned, but he has a way to contact the palace spirit. Grandma Qianghua said, although the divine star race, primal chaos race, and divine sword race are outside, they don't dare to attack because the divine sky race is also here. The divine sky race wants to protect us for 10 years. The Dragon Hall's elder chuckled a few times. The one who signed the soul contract is the divine sky race's Marquis Chong Hao. That Marquis doesn't want to die. Moreover, Marquis Chong Hao belongs to the Heavenly Sword King's family. This means that the Divine Sky race's Heavenly Sword King will use a lot of power to protect the Nine-Yang Divine Palace. The Palace King's methods are truly good. The Sword Hall's elder chuckled and said, we can rest assured now. The Divine Judge brought Xia Wufeng and the other elders of the Myriad Realms Divine Court to the Nine-Yang Divine Palace's barrier. Bai Si promptly went out to welcome them. The young palace spirit also allowed the Divine Judge to enter. After the Divine Judge entered, his dignified gaze swept across the people in the palace and asked, is your palace king not here? The palace master has not returned. Bai Si said, Divine Judge, if you want to find the palace king, we have no way to inform him. I just want to have a chat with him. At the same time, I also want to prevent a great battle from erupting here. If a conflict breaks out here and I can't stop it, then my position as the Divine Judge will become nothing more than a decoration. At this time, someone shouted, White Commander, Divine Sky Race's Marquis Chong Hao requests an audience. Xin Chong Hao is a Marquis. Among the strong races, the status of a Marquis is not low. Quickly invite him in. After White Commander found out that Divine Sky Race's people have arrived, he immediately relaxed a lot. Xin Chong Hao arrived with a large group of Divine Sky Race experts. Most of them are heavenly gods. There are also quite a few sacred gods. White Commander, we will be living here for the next 10 years. Xin Chong Hao has a scowling expression. Beside him, Shun Ruoming also has the same expression. Everyone present can understand Xin Chong Hao's current mood. After all, they have been miserably cheated by the simple and honest Palace King. They have to help Qin Yun look after his home for 10 years. And the enemies they will face are all very dangerous. What caused them to be incomparably gloomy is that they don't know what kind of enemies Qin Yun will provoke in the future. Therefore, being able to put on a scowling expression is already very good. If it were anyone else, they would probably cry. Qin Yun is cultivating in the Heavenly Palace. He wants to fuse with the Divine Sky Race's bloodline Divine Origin. Divine Sky Race's bloodline Divine Origin is quite strong. Qin Yun wants to open all his Xian God Dao veins and step into the Great God Realm as soon as possible. After the battle at Sword Sun God Mountain, he has a preliminary understanding of the strength of the powerful ancient races. If he didn't rely on the Nine Dragons' Heavenly Origin formation and other equipment, with his current strength, he would not be able to defeat those Marquis. At most, he would only be able to defeat young geniuses like Shen Ruoming. Qin Yun also understands that he cannot rely too much on external forces. After all, those powerful ancient races have existed for a long time. They have experienced many eras, and their foundation is extremely strong. If they also had strong enough equipment, it would be even more difficult to deal with them. This time, the reason why Qin Yun was able to kill an expert of Marquis Xi's level was mainly because they were not prepared. If they knew that Qin Yun's Nine Dragons' Heavenly Origin formation was very strong, they would have been able to prepare in advance. If they borrowed even stronger equipment or the same formation, they might have been able to break through the Nine Dragons' Heavenly Origin formation. If my strength was even stronger, even if the Great Formation was broken, I would still have the power to protect myself. Qin Yun fused with the Divine Sky Race's bloodline Divine Origin while cultivating Ling Yun'er's fairy body. The situation outside is still stable. The Divine Sky Race has entered the Nine-Yang Divine Palace. The White Commander has arranged a very spacious space for them to stay in, and the reception towards them is quite polite. The primal chaos race, divine star race, and divine sword race know that Qin Yun is not in the Nine Yang Divine Palace. They also know that the divine sky race wants to protect the divine palace, so that they did not attack. If they wanted to attack the Nine Yang Divine Palace, they would have to face the divine sky race and the divine judge. And behind the divine judge is the heaven creation divine palace's support. One day later, Qin Yun suddenly felt that the fusion of the bloodline divine origin this time is very different from before. Strange, the bloodline divine origin's energy has been scattered. Qin Yun said with a frown. Not all of it has been fused into the body. A part of the bloodline divine origin's energy has entered the 10th divine profound Tao image. Qin Yun's 10th divine profound Tao image is still very blurry and has not appeared. There has been no movement for many days. If he did not form the 10th divine profound Tao image, it would mean that he would not be able to open the 10th divine vein and would not be able to step into the great God realm. Now, the 10th divine profound Tao image has finally reacted, which made him very excited. Xiao Yun, this 10th divine profound Tao image absorbed the bloodline divine origin of the divine sky race. Could it be related to the divine sky race? Ling Yin asked. That Shen Ruoming seems to be able to see through your situation. I have to find an opportunity to understand it in the future. Although Qin Yun is happy that the 10th divine profound Tao image has reacted, he is also somewhat worried. Because the majority of the divine heaven bloodline, divine origin's energy has been absorbed by the 10th divine profound Tao image. His body has not absorbed anything at all. This is unable to increase the strength of his body. This divine heaven bloodline, divine origin has been snatched away by the 10th divine profound Tao image. It seems that I still have to continue fusing with the divine heaven bloodline, divine origin, Qin Yun said in his heart. The same kind of bloodline, divine origin, can only be fused with the body once. Now, the divine heaven bloodline, divine origin has not been absorbed by Qin Yun's body. Instead, it has been given to the mysterious 10th divine profound Tao image. What is this 10th divine profound Tao image? Qin Yun is extremely curious. He discovered that the 10th divine profound Tao image needs to absorb a lot of energy. Moreover, this energy must be from the divine sky race, and its form is definitely not ordinary. Just as Qin Yun is pondering about the 10th divine profound Tao image, the young palace spirit suddenly said with smile, "Big brother palace king, a beauty named Yu Tian has come to find you." Yu Tian? She's here so quickly? Qin Yun is somewhat surprised and promptly said, "Let General Manager White entertain her warmly. I am currently at a critical juncture of cultivation. I can't go out for the time being." Chapter 22:05. Qin Yun knew that many people wanted to see him, but he was in a hurry to cultivate and could not leave. Even if he finished cultivating, he still had to go see Yu Tian and refine Yushi's 9 dragons heavenly origin formation with her. Yushi had been looking forward to this for a long time, and now that she had given him all the necessary materials, he had no choice but to complete it quickly. If Yushi had the 9 dragons heavenly origin array, then her overall strength would increase by a lot, and she would be able to complete the mission of the 9 Sun Goddess much more smoothly. The little palace spirit had already gone to receive Yu Tian and brought her into the heavenly palace tower. Yu Tian understood the heaven-creating God palace very well, and at the same time was very curious about the 9 Yang divine palace, so the two of them quickly chatted together. Qin Yun, on the other hand, was struggling to refine the divine heaven bloodline, divine source. Absorbing the God heaven bloodline God source was his mysterious 10th God profound Tao idol. He did not know if this was equivalent to him having already fused with the God heaven bloodline God source. Therefore, this made him very conflicted. His physical body needed to fuse with more bloodline divine origin in order to become stronger, and the divine heaven bloodline divine origin was very strong. He did not want to waste it just like that. Xiao Yin, don't worry. The divine heaven bloodline, divine source, has not completely fused with your flesh and blood. You can still fuse with the divine heaven bloodline divine source. But the premise is that you have to obtain the divine heaven bloodline divine source. Ling Yuna laughed. The divine heaven clan people were angered half to death by Qin Yun. It will definitely be very difficult to get another bloodline divine origin from them. However, Qin Yun felt that it was nothing. Ignoring the divine heaven bloodline divine origins, he was confident that he could obtain the bloodline divine origins of the divine star race, the divine sword race, and the chaos race. He already had the heavenly demon race and the nine sun sky race's bloodline divine source, and he was about to get his hands on the divine moon race's bloodline divine source. Qin Yun was looking forward to what would happen if he obtained the bloodline divine origins of the various powerful races. 2 days had passed. Qin Yun finally finished refining the divine heaven bloodline divine source's energy, allowing his 10th divine profound Tao image to completely absorb the bloodline divine source's energy. However, the 10th divine profound Tao image did not completely appear. Instead, there was a silhouette that looked around. It was unknown what it was. What made Qin Yun most oppressed is that he can feel that the divine profound Tao image is very strong. It is hiding a very mysterious and powerful power, but he couldn't sense what kind of power it was. He had consumed a divine heaven bloodline, divine origin, but he did not manage to completely form the divine profound Tao image. This made Qin Yun feel extremely indignant. Even if he was indignant, there was nothing he could do. Qin Yun could only carry a bellyful of depression as he took a shower and changed into a set of white clothes. Little Hall Spirit, is it convenient to meet you Tian now? Qin Yun asked. The palace spirit immediately teleported Qin Yun to an elegant little hall. In the middle of the small hall, there is a round table with many books on it. They are all records of runes. Beside the table sat a woman in a light blue dress. This woman was Yu Tian. She had the same appearance as Bing Xing and Yu Shi, but she didn't have their ice-cold temperament. Instead, she was the complete opposite of them. Especially now, she was engrossed in reading a book and had a graceful and elegant temperament. After Yu Tian sensed that someone has appeared, a pair of bright and beautiful eyes immediately looked towards Qin Yun. Then she sweetly smiled. Big brother Yun, I finally meet you. Now she looks very gentle and pleasant, especially her smile. It is as if it is filled with endless tenderness, transforming into a spring breeze that warms people's heart. This is the true heaven creation palace master, Qin Yun said with smile. You and Yushi fused into one body before. It can be said that we have been together for a period of time. At that time, Xiaoxi was in charge and my soul was resting. If not for Big Brother Yun's help, I would not have been able to use Xiaoxi to be reborn. Yu Tian faintly smiled sweetly, her beautiful eyes slightly squinted. Amidst the gentleness and sweetness, there's a kind of delicate and sweet charm. It is extremely enchanting. Qin Yun secretly sighed in his heart. This is the first time he experienced the gentleness and sweetness of this nine-sun goddess. She is truly different from Yu Shi and Bing Xing. Although they have the same appearance, Qin Yun is completely unable to associate them with each other. Yu Tian's character is a bit similar to Siekaru's. However, Siekaru is the kind of big sister whose every movement, every frown and smile are filled with endless gentleness. But Yu Tian is different. Within her gentleness, there is sweetness, charm, and also a trace of pleasantness. Xiaoxi should have told you, right? Qin Yun said. Then let's not delay. Quickly begin. Xiaoxi is always looking forward to her nine-dragon heavenly origin formation. She always says that if her nine-sun emperor sword is refined into the nine-dragon heavenly origin formation, she will be the strongest among all the sisters. Yu Tian said with light smile. Her sweet and gentle smile makes people feel very comfortable and enjoy watching it. Qin Yun promptly let the young palace spirit bring him to a very spacious secret room, and then took out the nine-sun emperor sword. Qin Yun only needs to directly carve dragon heavenly rune on the nine swords and carve all kinds of runes on them. The process is not too complicated because he already has 9 swords. He doesn't need to refine them again. Yu Tian released her blood spirit power to help Qin Yin activate the Gemini treasure mirror and turn the Gemini heavenly rune inside the Gemini heavenly rune into dragon heavenly rune. Qin Yun's Gemini treasure mirror has dragon heavenly rune inside it. So long as he has enough blood spirit power, he can turn the Gemini heavenly rune created by Kong, Fei Qing, and others into dragon heavenly rune. Yu Tian's blood spirit power is very strong. With her help, Qin Yun can save a lot of trouble. Big Brother Yun, Heaven Creation Divine Palace people, are outside. They are the Heaven Creation Divine Palace you were familiar with back then. Both Heaven Creation Divine Palace and Nine Sun Divine Palace now have the support of Myriad Realms Divine Sun, but the support of Heaven Creation Divine Palace is even greater. Yu Tian said. Qin Yun nodded and said, Yu Tian, you have been in contact with them. Who are their people from back then? There are also many people you are familiar with, but they did not come. Now, they are the new generation of Heaven Creation Divine Palace. Yu Tian said. Xiao Tian, you have been in contact with them frequently. What kind of attitude do they have towards you? Qin Yun is very curious about this matter. Yu Tian was once the palace master of a Heaven Creation Divine Palace. That Heaven Creation Divine Palace has a special mission, and now they have arrived at God Desolate. They know that I am Nine Sun Divine Maiden, so they hope that I can join their Heaven Creation Divine Palace. They are willing to give me the position of Palace Master. Yu Tian sweetly smiled. Her eyes are flowing with tenderness as she asked, Big Brother Yin, do you think I should agree with them? Qin Yin looked at Yu Tian's eyes and felt startled in his heart. This Yu Tian looks gentle and sweet, but within her gentle eyes, there is a trace of charm. That trace of charm is accompanied by gentleness and sweetness. It directly attacked Qin Yun's heart. This kind of soul-hooking power is very strong. This girl, she is doing this on purpose. Qin Yun secretly cursed in his heart. He pretended to be thinking, at the same time avoiding Yu Tian's gaze, which is filled with tenderness and hidden charm. Ling Yun is said with smile, Nine Sun Divine Maiden, none of them are easy to deal with. Quickly pinch her face. Yu Tian, I can't give you any advice. You are Nine Sun Divine Maiden. You should discuss it with your sisters. Qin Yun said, after entering the Heaven Creation Divine Palace, you might need to deal with a lot of things. It will be very boring. Xiao Shi told me to ask you. The other sisters told me to do as I please. Yu Tian sighed with hidden bitterness. Her sorrowful, beautiful eyes are filled with a kind of enchanting gentleness. Qin Yun secretly took a deep breath and said with smile, then agree to the Heaven Creation Divine Palace and become their palace master. When the time comes, you could just be a shopkeeper who doesn't have to do anything. Then I will listen to Big Brother Yun. Yu Tian revealed a smile, calling him Big Brother Yun very sweetly. Qin Yun has already finished 1 dragon heavenly rune. They have already finished 3. They still need 6 more to complete. Let me do it, Big Brother Yin. You go carve runes. Yu Tian said with smile. Yu Tian is ranked 8th among the 9 Sun Divine Maidens, so she feels that she is younger than Qin Yun and calls him Big Brother Yin. All right. Qin Yun handed over the Gemini treasure mirror to Yu Tian and let her carve dragon heavenly rune. And Qin Yun began carving runes. Yu Tian, there is a problem with my cultivation. Do you have a way to contact Sister Kiru? I want to ask her for guidance. Qin Yun asked. Yu Tian lightly sighed and said, Sister Kiru is very busy right now. We have to contact her regularly. It will be very difficult to contact her immediately. Then help me pass on a message to her. I want to see her. Qin Yun said. I will tell Sister Kiru. Yu Tian nodded and said with smile, Sister Kiru also misses you very much. Oh, that's right, Big Brother Yun. What problem did you encounter with your cultivation? Maybe I can help you a bit? Soon after, Qin Yun spoke about his 10th divine profound Tao image. After Yu Tian finished listening, she said with frown, Sister Kiru mentioned this before. She said that you will have a very difficult to cultivate divine profound Tao image. If you can't cross this hurdle, you won't be able to break through. Did she say how she was going to solve it? Qin Yun said, I've already grasped a bit of the way. I will have to fuse with divine heaven race's bloodline, divine origin. Sister Kiru said that this is a very difficult problem you will face in the future. Even she doesn't know how to help you cross it. If your cultivation can't progress, we will take you to our side and protect you for the rest of your life. Yu Tian said, I can cross it. I've already made some progress. Qin Yun said with a smile, but I'm still a bit perplexed. Don't worry, I won't let you take care of me for the rest of my life. Oh, that's right. I heard Sister Kiru say that if you want to cross this hurdle, thoroughly studying the Imperial Heaven diagram is the most crucial. Yu Tian's eyes lit up and suddenly said, the Imperial Heaven diagram is the immortal graveyard diagram. It can be said to be a very mysterious and powerful thing. Back when he entered the Heavenly Law pawn shop, the Imperial Heaven diagram has always been with Qin Yun. He also researched it, but didn't make any progress, so he gave up. Because he doesn't know what it is and has no idea where to start. Now that Yu Tian mentioned it, Qin Yun is very startled in his heart. He immediately thought that the Imperial Heaven diagram, Heavenly I, Heavenly Tao, and Divine Heaven bloodline, divine origin might have some connection. Chapter 2206. Yu Tian saw that Qin Yun is distracted and knows that he is thinking about the Imperial Heaven diagram. Big Brother Yun, first help Shao Shi with the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation, then think about the Imperial Heaven diagram. This kind of thing cannot be rushed. Yu Tian sweetly said with a smile. And Qin Yun immediately focused his attention on the carvings. With Yu Tian's help, Qin Yun can relax a lot. 3 days have passed since Yu Tian finished carving dragon heavenly runes. And Qin Yun still has not finished carving runes. Yu Tian, go and rest. Qin Yun said. He has already finished carving runes on the 7 swords. Now there are only 2 swords left. While Yu Tian is carving dragon heavenly runes through the Gemini treasure mirror, she has been watching Qin Yun carve runes and learning from him. She is 9 Sun Divine Maiden. Her attainment in inscription is very high, but compared to Qin Yun, there is still a big gap. Qin Yun's inscription technique has been accumulated over several lifetimes. Moreover, he has different comprehension in each life. For example, in this life, he had a new understanding of inscriptions. Combined with his previous lives, it allowed him to comprehend inscriptions from many different angles, allowing him to have a more thorough understanding. This is a foundation that many inscription masters do not have. It can be said that Qin Yun has this kind of foundation because of a fortuitous coincidence. Therefore, when carving runes, he has almost reached the acme of perfection. Every time he carves runes, he can reach a very high level of finesse. Furthermore, the power of his blood soul was also extremely powerful. This is mainly because his body has become very strong. Body is strong, blood is strong. The power of the blood soul would naturally become stronger. When inscribing runes, it would allow the runes to unleash even greater power. Yu Tian can only use 2 words to evaluate Qin Yun's runes. Completely natural. They look like runes formed by nature. They are filled with a kind of natural Tao charm made by heaven and earth. What made Yu Tian admire the most is that when Qin Yun is carving runes, he looks very relaxed. His expression and posture are very casual. Big Brother Yun, I want to stay here and watch you inscribe more. Yu Tian said with a sweet smile, especially when Big Brother Yun is seriously inscribing. He is very handsome. Yu Tian, you must earnestly study my carving. Don't be distracted by my handsomeness. Qin Yun laughed loudly and said, It seems like my handsomeness is not too good. Yu Tian giggled. Her gentle and beautiful face was filled with a sweet smile. The situation outside was still stable. The divine heaven race has entered the 9 Yang Divine Palace. The divine chief and the others have not left because they want to wait for Qin Yun's return. Outside the 9 Yang Divine Palace, there were still several huge ships floating, as well as many small stars. The Chaos Race, Divine Sword Race, and Divine Star Race were all waiting for the 9 Yang Palace King to appear. They did not attack the 9 Yang Divine Palace, but they brought great pressure to the 9 Yang Divine Palace. Qinyan did not know what the chaos race was doing outside. If they wanted to fight, they would have done so long ago. Even if they waited for him to appear, they would not attack the Nine-Yang Divine Palace in the end, unless they planned to fight to the death with the Divine Sky Race. Marquis Chong, how the Divine Sky Race has a bellyful of anger. If they truly started a war, it would be perfect for him to vent his anger. In the blink of an eye, several days passed. Qin Yun finally completed the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation with the 9 Yang Emperor swords. Finally finished, Qin Yun said with smile. Yu Tian, give it to Xiao Shi. The 9 Yang Emperor swords combined into one and handed it over to Yu Tian. Qin Yun suddenly discovered that Yu Tian can actually control the 9 Yang Emperor sword. Yu Tian, what is your current situation? Only Xiao Shi can completely control the 9 Yang Emperor sword, right? Qin Yun doubtfully asked. Little Shi and I have fused our souls and physical bodies. We only separated after we obtained the 9 Yang, the Arch Sword, so my soul and physical body are exactly the same as little Shi's. Yu Tian smiled lightly and said, I also have a 9 Yang royal family's bloodline, so that's how it is. It is truly strange. Qin Yun exclaimed in admiration. Xiao Shi said that I am also the 9 Yang royal family's emperor. Yu Tian put away the 9 Yang emperor's sword, playfully stuck out her tongue, and said with smile, However, I have already decided to become the palace master of the Heaven Creation Divine Palace. The Heaven Creation Divine Palace has many secrets. Qin Yun was originally a member of the Heaven Creation Divine Palace, but because of differences, he left the Heaven Creation Divine Palace. Later on, he found out that the Heaven Creation Divine Palace touched upon all kinds of secrets. He didn't even have time to investigate before fighting with the Heavenly Law Divine Realm. If Yu Tian can become the palace master of the Heaven Creation Divine Palace, Qin Yun might be able to infiltrate the Heaven Creation Divine Palace and thoroughly investigate it. Yu Tian, why does Sister Kiru know so many things? Among your 9-son Divine Maiden, she knows the most things. Qin Yun is very doubtful, because she is the most reliable, so her responsibility is great. Even though she is not the big sister, she is shouldering even more missions. Yu Tian said. Qin Yun thought about it carefully and also feels that it is the case. The big sister, the 9-son Divine Maiden, is precisely the wild girl, Xiao Yuan Mei. Big brother Yun, I want to stay in the 9-son Divine Palace for a few more days. Little Palace Spirit told me that there are many books here. They're all the experiences you recorded when you studied runes back then. They are very useful to me. Yu Tian said, The atmosphere here is very good. It will allow me to gain more insights. You can stay as long as you want. Qin Yun said with smile. Xiao Shi might come after a period of time. I want to see if I can wait for her to come. Yu Tian said with a sweet smile. When the time comes, you can also see what it is like when I am with Xiao Shi. That's true. If Sister Bing Xing also came, that would be even better. Qin Yun said with smile. Qin Yun can now finally study the Imperial Heaven Diagram. After he understood the situation outside from the little palace spirit, he entered the secret room. In the secret room, Qin Yun took out the Imperial Heaven Diagram. After taking out the Imperial Heaven Diagram, Qin Yun discovered to his astonishment, the map on the Imperial Heaven Diagram is gone. The Imperial Heaven Diagram has turned light silver, and there are many densely packed golden runes on its surface. What a big change! Qin Yun looked at the Imperial Heaven Diagram and is very astonished. Xiao Yun, what appeared on the Imperial Heaven Diagram? Is it the Myriad Realms' divine sun? Ling Yun suddenly said. The Imperial Heaven Diagram is square and light silver in color. At this moment, there's a golden circle on it. That circle is flickering with a faint golden light, as if it is flowing. It really looks like a Myriad Realms' divine sun that is shining. And beside this big circle, there's also a small circle. There are 2 suns above the heavens, divine desolate, one big and one small. What is drawn on the Imperial Heaven Diagram is indeed the big and small suns above the heavens, divine desolate. When did it appear? Qin Yun doesn't know. Because he studied the Imperial Heaven Diagram before, he didn't find anything, so he put it aside. It is only now that he took it out that he discovered such a big change. Seeing this change, Qin Yun became even more excited. This is at least a breakthrough. He suspects that the imperial heaven diagram might be related to the formation of heaven's divine desolate, heaven's divine moon, and myriad realms' divine Sunday. The imperial heaven diagram was stolen by MOG from the Heavenly Law Pawn Shop. Even Siakuru doesn't know the specific situation of the imperial heaven diagram. What is the relationship between this imperial heaven diagram and my 10th divine Xin Dao image? Qin Yun stroked his chin and pondered. Soon after, he dripped blood and used his mental power or soul to permeate the imperial heaven diagram, but there was no reaction at all. Ling Yuner said, "Xiao Yun, you can ask Yun Long." Yun Long is now the shopkeeper of the Heavenly Law Pawn Shop, and Qin Yun hasn't looked for him for a long time. All right. Qin Yun quickly took out the Divine King Heavenly Seal and thought of contacting the Heavenly Law Pawn Shop. Yun Long is not very busy at the moment, so he is on call. The little palace spirit told Qin Yun that a large white cloud appeared in the sky above the 9-Yang Divine Palace. That white cloud turned into an old man. Qin Yun asked the little palace spirit to bring the old man in. Qin Yun is sitting in a small hall of the Heavenly Palace Pavilion. Yun Long has arrived. His long white beard fluttered like clouds and mist. That kind-looking old face is smiling. That pair of eyes filled with benevolent light revealed a kind of old fox-like light. "Shopkeeper Yun Long, long time no see," Qin Yun said with a smile. "You have finally returned to your 9-Yang Divine Palace. Congratulations on your return, Palace King," Yun Long said with a smile. "And you, the Divine King, don't seem to have returned to your position. The Myriad Realms Divine Palace shouldn't recognize you, right?" Qin Yun waved his hand and said with a smile, "I have no interest in entering the Myriad Realms Divine Palace right now." Yun Long took out a contract talisman and said with a smile, "What do you want to pawn or exchange?" "Shopkeeper Yun Long, we haven't seen each other for a long time. Let's chat a bit more." Qin Yun chuckled and said, "Please sit. Palace King, your 9-Yang Divine Palace is surrounded by powerful enemies. You seem to be quite relaxed right now, right? You should be a bit nervous." Yun Long said, "You're the shopkeeper of the Heavenly Law Pawn Shop. Do you have any suggestions?" Qin Yun asked with a smile. "Give me 500 Divine Universe Golden Stones, and I can summon a powerful undead army. As for whether or not I can repel those guys, I can't guarantee." Yun Long said, "Palace King, you have a lot of Divine Universe Golden Stones in your hands. You can give it a try." Qin Yun chuckled. He did not want to jump into this kind of pit. Instead, he said mysteriously, "I want to know the secret of the Imperial Heaven Diagram. The Imperial Heaven Diagram has been in your hands for so long. You still haven't figured it out?" Yun Long said in surprise, "I haven't figured it out." Qin Yun took out the Imperial Heaven Diagram and spread it out on the table. After spreading it out, Qin Yun and Yun Long are immediately alarmed, because on the Imperial Heaven Diagram, other than the big and small Myriad Realms Divine Sun, there's also a square blue thing. "What is that? It didn't appear before." Qin Yun said, "The Imperial Heaven Diagram can allow people to master the Imperial Heaven technique. As for what it is, I'm not sure either." Yun Long looked at the blue square and said, "This should be the blue sky. This thing might appear in the sky above the divine desolate." "Shopkeeper Yun Long, have you heard of the 10th God Profound Dao image?" Qin Yun asked again. "I feel that my 10th God Profound Dao image is related to this Imperial Heaven Diagram." Yun Long's expression suddenly changed. He said in a low voice, "You really have the 10th God Profound Dao image?" Chapter 2207. Qin Yun already knew that it would be very difficult to cultivate the 10th divine mystic Dao image to the point of manifestation. However, he never expected that this divine mystic Dao image would be so peculiar. It was actually the image of the heavenly Dao. "Then, has anyone managed to cultivate it?" asked Qin Yun. "Well, this is only a legend that someone managed to cultivate it. Yin Long muttered, "This is just a legend. You can't take it seriously." "Legend has it. Who managed to cultivate it?" Qin Yun's heart stirred as he asked anxiously. If he could find this legendary person, he would be able to learn a thing or two from him. Yin Long's expression was solemn as he said, "Legend has it that this person is the heavenly Tao." Qin Yun was taken aback. He had planned on finding this person, but with Yin Long's words, he immediately dispelled that thought. "You just said that the 10th divine mystic Tao image is either heaven or earth. Is it heaven or earth that the heavenly Tao cultivates?" Qin Yun asked again. "Legend has it that he cultivated the earth." Yin Long sighed. "These are all legends. There's no way to verify it." Qin Yun is very surprised. The 10th divine mystic Tao image cultivated by the heavenly Tao is not heaven but earth. Then who managed to cultivate to the heavens? Since you know that the 10th divine profound Tao image is either heaven or earth, then someone must have cultivated it before. That's why there is such a legend. Qin Yun continued to ask, "I don't know about that. I read about it in an ancient book." Yin Long shook his head. "There's another saying that is the 10th God profound Tao image. There will be special circumstances that will cause it to appear, causing it to be neither the sky nor the earth. This kind of thing couldn't be verified because they were all recorded in those ancient books. They were all just legends." However, Qin Yun felt that it was most likely true. Siekaru had said that the imperial sky painting could help him cultivate the 10th divine mystic Tao image. This meant that the 10th divine mystic Tao image was very likely to be the sky. He needed the imperial sky diagram to completely control the heavens. "How many profound God Tao veins have you opened now?" Yin Long asked. "If you have more meridians, the further you go, the harder it is to open them. The requirements on the body are extremely high. If your Tao image is very strong, then when you open your profound divine veins, the requirements for your physical body will be even higher. Only 6 meridians have been opened for now," Qin Yun said. "Although you still have 4 meridians to open, it will be extremely difficult for you to open each meridian." Yin Long sighed. "Also, whether or not you can cultivate the 10th divine profound Tao image in the end is also unknown." Qin Yun obtained the divine heaven race's bloodline divine source. He originally thought that after fusing with it, he would be able to open his 7th meridian. However, the bloodline God source origin was absorbed by the 10th divine profound Tao idol. This was out of his expectations. "By the way, is my mother free now?" Qin Yun asked. "She's working for the heavenly Tao." "What is she doing?" "She's not free right now. She met Xiao Yuelon once last time." Yin Long said, "I don't know what she did for the heavenly Tao. In short, she obtained the approval of the heavenly Tao." Qin Yun was very puzzled by the heavenly Tao. The natural law divine realm created by the heavenly Tao could be said to be an evil force, but whether the heavenly Tao itself was evil or good, it was hard to figure out. The information that Qin Yun had now grasped was that the so-called heavenly Tao only controlled a very powerful force. It could establish a very powerful nomological force to restrain multiple spaces, allowing living beings to grow under the heavenly Tao laws. All sorts of living beings would be able to bloom and form a gorgeous world. "All right, when my mother is free, remember to arrange for me to meet her. Qin Yun also misses his mother very much." "No problem," Yin Long said with a smile. "Palace King, if you can successfully cultivate the 10th divine profound Tao idol, your future will definitely be limitless. The heavenly Tao has undergone nirvana. What's the situation now? When will it be able to undergo nirvana rebirth?" Qin Yun asked. "I don't know either." Yin Long shook his head and said, "This kind of thing is simply impossible to predict." As the shopkeeper of the Heavenly Law pawn shop, Yin Long has accepted more and more people's pawns during this period of time. The Heavenly Law pawn shop's main purpose is to collect some very special things or powerful souls. The existence of the Heavenly Law pawn shop is also extremely mysterious. Yin Long and Qin Yun chatted for a while before leaving the Nine Yang Divine Palace. Qin Yun returned to the secret room and continued studying the imperial heaven diagram. The 10th divine profound Tao idol has absorbed the divine heaven race's bloodline, divine origin. It should be considered to have blood. Next, it should need to absorb powerful energy to nurture a powerful body. Qinyan also doesn't dare to confirm that his 10th divine profound Tao idol is the heavens. He quickly took out the 9 altars and formed the 9 dragons heaven origin formation. The 9 dragons heavenly origin array was activated, frantically absorbing the energy of the divine universe purple Sunday. With a thought, Qin Yun released the heavenly Tao divine pattern. The imperial sky painting should have something to do with the heavenly Tao. Perhaps I can help him through the heavenly Tao divine rune. The 9 dragons heaven origin formation transformed the energy of the divine universe purple sun, making it easier to absorb. Qin Yun gave a try. Sure enough, the 10th divine mystic Tao image could absorb the divine universe purple sun's divine universe purple chi. It was just that the rate of growth was a little slow. Previously, he had also tried, but the 10th divine profound Tao image was unable to absorb the divine universe violet chi at all. Only now could he absorb it. It was obvious that it had fused with the divine heaven bloodline, divine source. It is effective. The 10th God Xiandao image needs to absorb a lot of energy. Qin Yun felt a lot relieved in his heart. Next, he used the heavenly Tao divine pattern to connect his soul with the imperial sky diagram to comprehend the things within it. In just a moment, Qin Yun saw the runes on the imperial heaven diagram surface suddenly flow slowly. Those are Tao spread runes, but those runes are all heavenly runes. Tao spread heavenly runes are very powerful and incomparably profound runes. Through the heavenly Tao divine pattern, Qin Yun can see that the incomparably dense and complex runes are changing and flowing. However, he can't understand what those runes represent. Xiao Yun, use your heavenly eye, Ling Yuner said. Qin Yun promptly opened his heavenly eye to look at those runes. However, he still can't understand the Tao spread heavenly runes on the imperial heaven diagram surface. It's too complicated. But I can be sure that the secret of the imperial heaven diagram is under these Tao spread heavenly runes. Qin Yun tightly frowned. Those Tao spread heavenly runes are like dense fog. Only by removing this dense fog can one know the secret under the imperial heaven diagram. Although the 10th God Xiandao image can absorb the divine universe violet chi, the absorption speed is too slow. According to this speed, it will take thousands of years or even tens of thousands of years for the 10th God Xiandao image to take shape. Qin Yun can't wait that long. He feels that there must be a hidden technique inside the imperial heaven diagram that can make the 10th God Xiandao image appear even faster. Qin Yun took a deep breath, stopped the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation, and closed his eyes. He doesn't want to think about anything now. He put aside the matter of cultivating the 10th God Xiandao image and the imperial heaven diagram. Instead, he concentrated on controlling the heavenly Tao divine rune image to enter his eyes. The most mysterious Empyrean inscription spirit is hidden inside the heavenly eye. Qin Yun remembers that Mu Yu said that the Empyrean inscription spirit is inside the heavenly eye. To wield the heavenly Tao, one needs the Empyrean inscription spirit. Only by mastering the Empyrean inscription spirit can one understand the extremely complicated Tao spread heavenly runes of the imperial heaven diagram. Therefore, Qin Yun now wants to obtain the Empyrean inscription spirit from the heavenly eye. At this moment, Qin Yun opened his eyes. They're emitting a purple-red light. The heavenly eye has always been like this, but now it is gradually turning blue. If you look directly into his eyes, it is as if you can see a boundless blue sky. Ah! Qin Yun screamed in pain. His eyes suddenly hurt, and at the same time, he felt something drilling into his body through his eyes. It's out! Qin Yun is ecstatic. The Empyrean inscription spirit hidden inside the heavenly eye has finally appeared. He used the heavenly Tao divine rune image to draw out the Empyrean inscription spirit from the heavenly eye. After the Empyrean inscription spirit entered his body, it erupted with a very strong power, causing his body to swell up. Qin Yun promptly controlled the nether sun and crazily devoured the purple-red Empyrean inscription spirit. The nether sun can quickly devour all kinds of soul bodies and fuse them. The Empyrean inscription spirit is very peculiar. After it dispersed, it covered every part of Qin Yun's body. The Empyrean inscription spirit is frantically resisting. That is why it is hurting Qin Yun's body. Feeling the formidable power of the inscription spirit, Qin Yun is secretly alarmed in his heart. His current body is very strong. He can barely suppress the Empyrean inscription spirit. If he had just obtained the heavenly eye and drawn out the Empyrean inscription spirit, his body would have been torn to shreds. Little thing, submit to me. Qin Yun's nether sun completely released its devouring power. The Empyrean inscription spirit is also gradually being absorbed by the nether sun. Half a day later, Qin Yun's nether sun suddenly trembled. The Empyrean inscription spirit has already been devoured by the nether sun, but it is not completely fused with it. It is still tenaciously resisting. Yuner, take care of that little thing, Qin Yun said with smile. It has already entered my nether sun. It still wants to come out? Very good. The Empyrean inscription spirit is finally in my hands, Ling Yuner said with smile. Qin Yun has mastered many inscription spirits. These inscription spirits are very precious. Now he can only let the Moon Lady inscription spirit manifest. After the inscription spirit manifests, its power is very strong, especially during the inscription battle. As the nether sun slowly rotated, the trembling also gradually disappeared. Qin Yun has completely controlled the Empyrean inscription spirit. Now all kinds of divine sense are pouring into his mind. Before, he didn't understand anything about heavenly runes, but now it is gradually becoming clear. He looked at the imperial heaven diagram on the table and faintly smiled. Sure enough, the Empyrean inscription spirit is the key. Xiaoyan, what did you see? Ling Yuner asked. The imperial heaven diagram's Tao evolution heavenly rune has formed 4 characters. Qin Yun said with smile. 9 suns imperial heaven. 9 suns imperial heaven? What does this have to do with the 9 sun heavenly domain? Ling Yuner said in shock. The 9 suns of the 9 sun heavenly domain are formed for the imperial heaven. It's just that 9 ordinary heavenly suns are too weak. That's why they evolved in a myriad realms divine suns. Qin Yun said. Ling Yuner is also very excited. She asked, Xiaoyun, did you find a method to quickly cultivate the 10th god profound Tao image? Indeed. Qin Yun opened the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation again and said, through the imperial heaven diagram's Tao evolution heavenly rune, I can quickly absorb energy and make the 10th god profound Tao image appear. Chapter 22:08. Qin Yun finally had a breakthrough while exploring the Imperial Heaven Diagram. He knows that the Imperial Heaven Diagram is used to cultivate and control the 10th divine mystic Tao image. He was currently using the Imperial Sky Diagram and the 9 Dragons Heavenly Origin Array to rapidly absorb the energy of the Divine Universe Purple Sunday previously. When the 10th divine profound Tao idol absorbed the divine cosmos purple chi, it was extremely slow. Now, with the help of the Imperial Sky Diagram, the 10th mysterious god Tao idol was rapidly taking shape and gradually taking shape. Is the 10th divine profound Tao idol really the heavenly Tao idol? Qin Yun looked at the blurry 10th divine mystic Tao image in his body. Although it was about to manifest, he still found it unbelievable that he could cultivate the heavenly Tao image. Although it was only a Tao image, the heavenly Tao image was definitely one of the strongest mysterious spirit Tao images. The Imperial Heaven Diagram constantly emitted many threads that wrapped around Qin Yun's arm. They looked like golden hair wrapping around Qin Yun's arm. As they absorbed the divine universe purple energy, those threads would gradually turn purplish red and then quickly turn back to gold. Such an alternation of colors was very mystical. I've only managed to pry open some of the secrets of the imperial sky diagram. I still don't know how to use it. Qin Yun looked at the imperial heaven chart. He felt that the imperial heaven chart still had many uses. Only after the imperial heaven ascending diagram converted the divine universe, purple chi, into energy could the 10th divine, profound Tao idol absorb it quickly. This process did not bring Qin Yun any pain. Instead, he felt a comfortable warmth wrap around his arm. Ling Yun, he said, Xiao Yun, there might be some secret technique inside the imperial heaven diagram. If you have time, you should study it properly. Qin Yun opened his heavenly eye. It has already turned blue. Even those who were familiar with the heaven's eyes would not be able to recognize them as the heaven's eyes. Although the Empyrean inscription spirit inside the heavenly eye was drawn out by Qin Yun, the heavenly eye did not weaken. Instead, it became stronger. Qin Yun could clearly sense that the heavenly eye was even more penetrating. The current heavenly eye is my own heavenly eye. Qin Yun suddenly had this kind of intense feeling. The core of the heavenly eye must be the Empyrean inscription spirit. And the Empyrean inscription spirit has already been obtained by Qin Yun. If I succeed in cultivating the heavenly Tao image, maybe I can make the heavenly eye and Empyrean inscription spirit stronger. Ling Yun'er said with a smile. Cultivating the heavenly Tao is definitely very dangerous. Otherwise, there wouldn't be 9 suns, imperial heaven. Qin Yun said, Yun'er, we must be extremely cautious. Ling Yun'er said, Xiao Yun, you should have 3 suns on your body. You and I each have another sun, plus the divine universe purple sun. You're not far from 9 suns. Qin Yun nodded. He is quite looking forward to cultivating the Tao spirit. After cultivating the heavenly Tao statue, if he used it to open up the Xian Shan Tao meridian, the divine power he would obtain would definitely be extremely powerful. After half a day, Qin Yun suddenly felt a very powerful aura surging within his body. This Tao spirit power came from the 10th profound Tao spirit Tao image. Such dreadful heavenly might, Qin Yun exclaimed in admiration. Combined with heavenly might Tao technique, it will surely be very strong. Almost finished, it is a purple oval-shaped crystal. Qin Yun looked inside his body. The heavenly Tao image is very big. It is about the same size as the nether sun miraculously. Such a big heavenly Tao image can actually hide inside the nether sun. There was already a heavenly Tao divine rune inside the nether sun, and now another heavenly Tao image is inside. This heavenly Tao image is quite good at hiding. It knows that the inside of the nether sun is very safe. Qin Yun said with mischievous smile, now it has finally been cultivated. The 10 divine, profound Tao images have completely appeared. Next, he only needs to improve his body and open the Xian divine Tao meridian. After cultivating the heavenly Tao image, Qin Yun sensed that his divine power has become a lot stronger. The main aspect of divine power is that its might has increased a lot. This kind of heavenly might is very powerful and mystical. It can give people a very strong mental pressure. Furthermore, if the heavenly might accompanying divine power is strong enough, it can have even stronger penetrating power and can easily break through all kinds of energy barriers. After the imperial heaven diagram helped Qin Yun cultivate the heavenly Tao image, it returned to its original appearance. It has a light silver surface, and there are 2 myriad realms divine suns on it. Apart from this, there's also a blue square object. Yin Long said before that it is some blue sky universe. Qin Yun did not ask what it is. He only knows that it is definitely a very large celestial body. Big Brother Palace King, there is a fight outside. The young palace spirit's voice arrived. Did those ancient races attack the 9 Yang Divine Palace? Qin Yun is not very worried about being attacked. The 9 Yang Divine Palace's defense is extremely strong. Now that it has obtained the protection of the myriad realms divine sun and the divine heaven race, It will not be easy for those three ancient races to break through. They did not attack the 9 Yang divine palace. Instead, the divine sword race and the divine heaven race are fighting outside. The young palace spirit said. Qin Yun left the secret room and arrived at a large hall outside. Yu Tian is still in the heavenly Dao pagoda. She is in that large hall. After Qin Yun came out, he waved his hand, causing a painting on the wall of the large hall to fluctuate. After the painting fluctuated a bit, the situation outside the 9 Yang divine palace can be seen. Sure enough, the youngsters of the divine sword race and the divine heaven race are fighting outside. I thought it would be Shen Ruoming fighting. After this guy lost to me, I wonder if he can pull himself together. Qin Yun said. He also saw Shen Ruoming watching from the side. Although Shen Ruoming's origin sword was shattered in the battle with Qin Yun, it quickly condensed back together. Qin Yun also showed mercy to Shen Ruoming. Otherwise, Shen Ruoming would have been killed long ago. Shen Ruoming himself knows this the best. Qin Yun only took a glance and said, the divine heaven race's sword cultivator will lose without a doubt. Yu Tian also put down the ancient book in her hand. Her beautiful eyes stared at the huge painting on the wall and watched the battle. Because she is also a sword user, she is very interested in the battle between sword cultivators. Big Brother Yun, the divine heaven race's sword cultivator, has the upper hand. Why do you say that he will lose without a doubt? Yu Tian doubtfully asked. The divine sword race's sword technique is very sinister. Moreover, that sword is not an ordinary origin sword, but a poisonous snake sword. Qin Yun said, look carefully at his sword. There is a snake totem on it. Those runes can release poison power. Yu Tian carefully looked and said in shock, sure enough, I thought it was a dragon totem. That guy's snake totem was actually disguised as a dragon totem. The divine sword race's guy is truly sinister. The little palace spirit said. At this moment, when the divine sword race's sword tip pierced forward, it suddenly turned into a black, malevolent snake. The snake's head bit forward like lightning. Its poisonous fangs bit into the divine heaven race's sword cultivator's neck and frantically injected poison. In the blink of an eye, the divine heaven race's young sword cultivator's entire body turned purple-white. His entire body is emitting a light purple poisonous gas. It looked like a purple corpse that had been frozen. It was extremely horrifying. Shen Changhao cursed despicable. Then his body flashed and caught the poisoned young sword cultivator. He quickly helped him detoxify the poison. That poisonous snake is not simple. I will go out and take a look. Qin Yun said, Yu Tian, are you going? I won't go. Yu Tian gently smiled. I want to stay here and read books. 9 Yang Divine Palace's Central Hall. Divine Heaven Race's people hurriedly helped the young sword cultivator detoxify the poison. That young sword cultivator is a heavenly god. His strength is not ordinary. Just like Shen Ruoming, he is also a young genius sword cultivator of the Divine Heaven Race. If there is any mishap, Shen Changhao will also blame himself. He is deeply poisoned. Divine Judge is also watching from the side, he said with frown. This poison is very strange. It seems like it is accompanied by runes and entered the body. Medicine God and Pill God are also here. They were once Qin Yun's old friends. They came here to see their old friend. Medicine God said, this is a type of inscription ancient poison, a group of very complex runes, condensed to the size of strand of hair and enter the body. Moreover, this group of inscription ancient poison is constantly multiplying. 1 begets 2, 2 begets 4. His body is already filled with inscription ancient poison. An old man from the Heaven Creation Divine Palace shook his head and sighed. He patted Shen Changhao's shoulder and said, restrain your grief and accept the vicissitudes. That bastard. It is clearly a sword competition, but he actually used poison. Shen Ruoming's face is filled with cold anger as he said, I want to go out and kill him. Even if you go out, you will only be throwing away your life. If we lose again, our losses will be great. Shen Changhao shouted coldly. Don't be impulsive, Medicine God said. Quickly send this young man on his way. He is in great pain now. This kind of poison is very difficult to detoxify. Shun Changhao and the others are from Divine Heaven Race. They have some understanding of Divine Sword Race's methods. At this moment, Shun Changhao's face is filled with grief. He wants to give this young sword cultivator a quick and painless death. Above the main hall is the entrance to the Heavenly Palace. Qin Yun suddenly slowly descended from the sky. He is wearing simple white clothes. His handsome face has a smile on it. He looks very amiable, but he has the aura of a strong expert. Wait, I can detoxify this poison, Qin Yun lightly shouted. You have been in Nanyang Divine Palace all this time? Shin Changhao saw Qin Yun appear and felt very unhappy in his heart. By sea, Sword Hall Elder, Dragon Hall Elder, as well as many elders of Nanyang Divine Palace promptly stepped forward and saluted. Qin Yun casually waved his hand and said with smile, My Nanyang Divine Palace does not have such troublesome etiquette. Palace King, we truly have eyes but failed to see. We did not know that you had returned. Please forgive us. Dragon Hall Elder lowered his head, not daring to look straight at Qin Yun. All these years, you have worked hard to protect Nanyang Divine Palace. What crime have you committed? Qin Yun said with smile, and then walked toward Shun Changhao. Bai Si is very excited. After knowing that Qin Yun is the Palace King, she became very reserved. She doesn't dare to speak carelessly in front of Qin Yun. She can only silently follow behind him. You could detoxify poison? Although Shin Changhao is very unhappy with Qin Yun, he knows that this Nanyang Palace King has true ability. Chapter 2209. Qin Yun is currently lacking bloodline divine origin. The divine heaven bloodline divine origin was absorbed by the heavenly Tao image. Now his body needs to absorb it. Only like this can he smoothly open the seventh mysterious divine Tao meridian. Bloodline divine origin is nothing to a marquis like Shun Changhao. That is why Qin Yun asked for two. Because Ling Yun'er's fairy body also needs one. As long as you could detoxify Shun Ruolang, two bloodline divine origin is not a problem. Shun Changhao is also very curious about why Qin Yun needs so many bloodline divine origin. Because everyone knows that he has powerful purple blood, it can be said to be the strongest bloodline among the powerful races. There is no need to fuse with bloodline divine origin. Little brother, can you really detoxify it? Medicine God said, I know you have great divine ability, but this poison is inscription ancient poison. Indeed, this inscription ancient poison can be considered a kind of heavenly rune. This kind of poison power is created by using very powerful blood spirit power through heavenly rune. It is very profound. Pill God nodded and said, Pill God and Medicine God did not team up with Thunder God and others, so they are still Qin Yun's good friends. Brothers, this poison is indeed very strong, but it is not a problem for me. Qin Yun smiled confidently. That day at the Medicine King Assembly, they also saw Qin Yun's poison and detoxification methods. However, the poison in Shun Ruolang's body came from a powerful ancient race. Divine Judge said from the side, This inscription ancient poison is constantly producing new poison runes. It has completely penetrated into the soul, flesh, and bones. It is very difficult to completely remove. Qin Yun used his heavenly eye to see that there is a large amount of inscription ancient poison inside Shun Ruolang's body. This poison transformed into runes, like countless tiny poisonous insects, densely multiplying inside Shun Ruolang's body. This is indeed a very strong inscription ancient poison. Under normal circumstances, it would be impossible to remove it. However, Qin Yun can remove it. He just mastered the Empyrean inscription spirit and has a very high level of control over heavenly runes. This inscription ancient poison evolved from heavenly runes. In essence, it has the characteristics of heavenly runes. Therefore, Qin Yun can use the Empyrean inscription spirit to suppress this inscription ancient poison. Qin Yun's palm suddenly overflowed with blue light. If you look carefully, you can see that the runes on his palm are flowing. He instantly condensed a set of powerful runes in his palm. This was something he had created on the spur of the moment, combining the many profound runes he had mastered. There are star runes, moon runes, sun runes, and they are all god-tier runes. Many different profound runes fused together and flowed in his palm, forming a Dao Yin rune. Combining many different kinds of runes like a brilliant apothecary, according to the symptoms, he quickly formed a prescription in his mind. Seeing Qin Yun instantly condense an inscription. Furthermore, it was such a profound inscription, it immediately caused the hearts of all the inscription masters present to tremble. Rune Dao 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 Yiming. Dao Dao runes is runes, and rank rune ancestor Yun, dragon emperor, emperor's heart. Divine power is his god emperor, is his dragon sect brother Yun, is sect brother. King, god, emperor is. God dragon is his chi, is his dragon emperor body. Shun, cold as dragon, is his king is. Shen Ruolang's body is ice cold, purple, and shriveled. The main reason is that the energy in his body is being crazily extracted. Qin Yun's blood soul power is released by Empyrean inscription spirit. Therefore, the runes he just condensed can easily suppress the inscription ancient poison. Through his heavenly eye, he can see that the blue runes he condensed are quickly spreading inside Shun Ruolang's body and gradually devouring the inscription ancient poison. It's about time. It's just that his body is seriously injured. Rest a lot and eat some replenishing pills. He will recover very quickly. Qin Yun saw Shen Ruolang open his eyes and said indifferently. Shen Ruolang woke up very quickly and the poison in his body has been completely removed. Everyone in the Great Hall looked at Qin Yun with incomparable admiration. This Nanyang Palace King truly lives up to his reputation. Not to mention being proficient in inscription pill technique, his own strength is unfathomable. Even the Divine Heaven clan, a powerful clan that is very unhappy with Qin Yun, cannot help but secretly admire him. This is your bloodline divine origin. Shen Changhao took out 2 bloodline divine origin and handed them over to Qin Yun. Qin Yun took them and asked, "Many thanks. Oh, that's right. Why are you fighting them? Is there any agreement?" "We have an agreement with Divine Sword Race to send out youngsters to compete. 2 out of 3 wins. If we win, they will leave. If we lose, we will have to give them 200 Divine Universe Golden Stones." Shen Changhao said, "So what if they don't leave? Why fight them?" Qin Yun shook his head and smiled. "We promised you that we would protect Nanyang Palace for 10 years. Divine Sword Race, Primal Chaos Race, and Divine Star Race all want to attack Nanyang Palace. If Divine Sword Race agrees not to attack Nanyang Palace for 10 years, it'll be a lot easier for us." Shen Changhao said, "Palace King, our Nanyang Palace's defense is very strong. Even if they attack together, it will be very difficult for them to break our barrier." Bai Si said in low voice. Divine Judge said, "Primal Chaos Race, Divine Sword Race, and Divine Star Race will send out helpers one after another. Their dupes will not make a move, so don't be too confident that Nanyang Palace's barrier will be able to block them." Nanyang Palace King, your Nanyang Palace is rather ancient. Whether or not your barrier is reliable is hard to say. Shen Changhao said, "It's better to be cautious. Our barrier." Bai Si did not finish speaking when Qin Yun waved his hand. Qin Yun is very clear about how strong Nanyang Palace's barrier is. Divine Sky Race, I know that you have some complaints about me in your heart, but you don't have to worry too much. I won't let you bear too much pressure. Qin Yun said, "My Nanyang Palace will rise very soon. In Nanyang Palace, you're the only one who can fight." Shen Ruoming's eyes are filled with disdain as he looked at Bai Si, Sword Hall Elder, and other higher-ups. There must be a process of growth. Now that I am back, Nanyang Palace will rise again. Qin Yun's calm tone is filled with an unquestionable arrogance. At this time, Divine Sword Race people shouted from outside. Divine Sky Race people quickly send people out to fight. Shen Ruoming cursed in low voice. Let me take care of that viper sword, Xia Wufeng said. If you go out, you will also be bitten. If you lose again, you will lose 200 divine universe golden stones. Save it. Don't look down on people, Shen Ruoming said. Then go ahead, Xia Wufeng said with sneer. He can naturally see Shen Ruoming's level. Shen Ruoming suffered a heavy blow. Not only did he lose miserably to Qin Yun, this one-armed sword god also looks down on him. Shen Changhao naturally doesn't want to lose 200 divine universe golden stones. He promptly stopped the impulsive Shen Ruoming, looked at Qin Yun, and asked, Nine Yang Palace King, do you have a brilliant plan? We should calmly join forces. This is the most beneficial for both of us. Qin Yun took out the myriad heaven divine saber. When he held the saber this time, he could feel the formidable heavenly rune power inside the myriad heaven divine saber. The myriad heaven divine saber evolved from the 9 desolate divine saber. There is a mysterious bloodline heavenly rune box inside the 9 desolate divine saber. Qin Yun suddenly thought that after he grasps the Empyrean inscription spirit, he might be able to open the box. He firmly held the myriad heaven divine saber and sensed even stronger heavenly rune power, causing the saber to release even stronger power. The divine saber is filled with vast and mighty heavenly might. Disdainfully looking down on the heaven and earth, it engulfed the entire main hall like a tide. The people standing beside Qin Yun all retreated in fright due to the imposing aura. You, what are you doing? Shen Changhao is also startled and asked. When Qin Yun used the myriad heaven divine saber before, his aura was not this strong. It has only been a few days, and he has already made such great progress. I will go out and take care of that viper sword person. This way they will send out another guy who doesn't know how to use poison. Shen Ruoming will then go out and fight. It will be a lot easier, Qin Yun said with a smile. Isn't this a very good method? Everyone immediately became silent. This is indeed a very good method, but only Qin Yun dares to do this. There is a duke on the Divine Sword Race's ship outside. It is easy to go out and kill Viper Sword, but he will definitely be targeted by the duke. Palace King, this is very risky, Sword Hall Elder said. I ask you to carefully consider. Just as he finished speaking, he felt a burst of spatial fluctuation arrive. Qin Yun suddenly disappeared from the main hall. The young palace spirit teleported Qin Yun out of the 9 Yang Divine Palace. After Qin Yun went out, he saw Viper Sword person holding the Viper Divine Sword. He is proudly looking at the entrance of the 9 Yang Divine Palace. Seeing someone come out, Viper Sword person thought that his opponent has arrived. However, he quickly discovered that the person who came out is not holding a sword, but a saber. Viper Sword person was not in the palace hall before, so he doesn't recognize that the saber is the myriad heaven divine saber. He also doesn't recognize Qin Yun. Most of the divine sword race's youths in the Sword Sun Great Hall have died. You are. Divine Sky Race sent you to fight? Viper Sword person saw Qin Yun and asked in cold voice. No, I am here to send you on your way. Qin Yun's light transformation, sacred pupil, and transcending void step are extremely fast. Just as he finished speaking, he already appeared in front of Viper Sword person. Ho! After Qin Yun arrived, he released super gravity and shook Viper Sword person. Then, he slashed down with his saber. Flame surged like a monstrous wave and directly killed Viper Sword person. Shen Changhao and others just ran out of the 9 Yang Divine Palace's main hall and saw Viper Sword person turn into flames and fall to the ground. After Qin Yun killed Viper Sword person, he hastily used Transcending Void Step and in the blink of an eye, returned to the 9 Yang Divine Palace's entrance. Chapter 22:10. The 9 Yang Divine Palace's barrier has also been fully activated. The entire Divine Palace is surrounded by dense myriad realms, divine sun power. It can be seen that this 9 Yang Divine Palace is supported by the myriad realms, divine Sunday. With the support of the myriad realms, divine sun, the 9 Yang Divine Palace's barrier has an unending stream of powerful energy. It will not be easy to break through. If the Nine-Yang Divine Palace still had a killing formation to attack, even the battleships of those strong races might not be able to withstand it. In these 10 years, with our divine heaven race here, they might be a bit afraid. But after 10 years, we will leave the Nine-Yang Divine Palace, and you will be in danger. Shen Changhao said, 10 years? Every year, the divine desolate changes greatly. No one knows what will happen after 10 years. Especially now, the myriad realm's divine sun is in a very active state. We will have more opportunities to become stronger faster. Qinyan said. What Qinyan said is not false, because currently, the divine desolate is changing more and more. Even those strong races have discovered that more and more powerful creatures have appeared in the divine desolate. Not only beasts, they have even encountered powerful humans from unknown races. Nine-Yang Divine Palace. It is not that we are afraid of you, but we have more important things to do. When we return, it will be the day the Nine-Yang Divine Palace is destroyed. An ice-cold hoarse voice came from outside, accompanied by a very powerful aura, accompanied by a gale that enveloped the entire Nine-Yang Divine Palace. This is clearly the voice of a duke. Is the divine sword race's duke. His ice-cold voice is accompanied by an angry sword aura. The gale formed is like countless translucent swords, blotting out the sky and covering the earth as they charge towards the Nine-Yang Divine Palace. The Nine-Yang Divine Palace let out a slight tremble. The powerful barrier blocked the countless translucent sword energy. The day you attack the Nine-Yang Divine Palace is the day you die. Qinyan's voice is filled with imposing aura as it spread out from the Nine-Yang Divine Palace. Then let's wait and see. Divine Sword Race's fiery red giant ship also flew away at this moment, flying high into the sky. Soon after, the Divine Star Race's stars and the Primal Chaos Race's ships all flew into the sky. After the three great races left, Shun Changhao and the others let out a long sigh of relief. This was especially true for the Grand Inquisitor. If a fight broke out here, it would be a huge headache for him. Do they really have something urgent to do? The Sword Hall Elder asked doubtfully. With their strength, they shouldn't be scared away. Shun Changhao said, they really do have something important to do. All the powerful races have sent dukes. Only you don't know what they are going to do. The Dragon Palace Elder hurriedly said, then tell us. This is our secret. We can't tell anyone. Shen Changhao was tight-lipped. Qinyan looked at the nameless old man. The nameless old man quickly shook his head and said, I don't know anything. Those powerful ancient races also had important matters to attend to, but they couldn't leak this matter. Shinruoming said, if you knew about this, it would definitely be even more chaotic, so they definitely wouldn't say anything. I will have a way to find out. Qinyan smiled indifferently. Soon after, Qin Yun, Pill God, Medicine God, Xia Wufeng, and the others began chatting. Suddenly, Divine Judge asked to speak with Qin Yun alone. Qin Yun agreed. After all, this Divine Judge is a very good person. He took good care of Xia Wufeng and Xian Rujing in Myriad Realm's Divine Court. Moreover, Qin Yun wants to ask the Divine Judge about some secret matters. Qin Yun arrived at Heavenly Palace Hall with the Divine Judge and entered an elegant small hall. Divine Judge, if you want me to hand over the Divine King Heavenly Seal, it is impossible. Qin Yun sat down and said with smile. Although the Divine Judge is a very dignified old man, in front of Qin Yun, he doesn't put on any airs. He said with bright smile, of course it is impossible. I'm not stupid enough to ask you this kind of request in your territory. My Divine King Heavenly Seal has great influence on God positions. Poison God, Grass God, Rain God, and the others were all taken back by me. Qin Yun said. Qin Yun did not say that he killed them. He only said that he took back their God positions. However, the Divine Judge knows that most of Thunder God's subordinates have already been killed by Qin Yun. Thunder God still has half of his avatar in Myriad Realm's Divine Court. I will bring him back as soon as possible and let you take back his God position. But I have a request. After I find a suitable candidate, I hope you can pass on the God position. The God position is in Qin Yun's hands. Only he can pass on the God position. This, Qin Yun's expression is filled with hesitation. He did not agree. The order that Myriad Realms Divine Son gave me is to protect the Myriad Realms Divine Court, to let the Myriad Realms Divine Court maintain the order of Divine Wasteland, so that Divine Wasteland can grow in an orderly manner, the Divine Chief said. And the Myriad Realms Divine Court needs these deity positions. Qin Yun said, Divine King Heavenly Seal is in my hands, but its power has not been taken back by Myriad Realms Divine Son. What does this mean? Palace King used to be the God King, but now is the present. Myriad Realms Divine Court has new rules. It will not follow the old rules. This is also the will of Myriad Realms Divine Son. Divine Judge said. Qin Yun took out the Divine King Heavenly Seal and said, I can agree to pass on the God position, but I can't pass it on for free. Divine Judge said with smile, Don't worry, we can discuss the conditions. Myriad Realms Divine Son will regularly send me a certain amount of resources. Maybe it is to satisfy my conditions. Divine Judge, what is the current situation of Myriad Realms Divine Son? I really don't understand. Qin Yun asked. Myriad Realms Divine Son is formed by itself. At the same time, there is also a group of people secretly helping and protecting it. Only then can Myriad Realms Divine Son be born smoothly. I don't know what kind of existence that group of people are. I only know that they are very powerful, and they can't even descend into Myriad Realms Divine Desolate. Divine Judge's expression became somewhat solemn. There are people inside Myriad Realms Divine Son? Qin Yun said with frown. Maybe, Divine Judge said. In short, we can only make groundless accusations. There is one more thing. I hope Divine Judge will pay more attention to it. Qin Yun said in low voice. Is Love God also in Myriad Realms Divine Court? Speaking of Love God, Divine Judge's expression slightly changed. He said, That woman is indeed still in Myriad Realms Divine Court. Palace King, you want to touch her? Everyone knows that Love God is only an avatar. Her true body is Heavenly Mother. She also obtained Primal Chaos Race's bloodline inheritance. She is in cahoots with Thunder God. Yes, she is my enemy. I want to kill her. Divine Judge, don't stop me. This guy's heart is not righteous. He is not worthy of a God position. Qin Yun said, I won't stop you, but if you want to touch her, I am afraid it won't be that easy. The Divine Chief looked at Qin Yun and said, When you attack her, you must be very careful. Love God is not easy to deal with. Oh, why didn't you stop me? Qin Yun asked doubtfully. Because I also want her God position to be stripped. Divine Judge said, Love God is very rampant in Myriad Realms Divine Court. I can't suppress her. Qin Yun slightly inhaled and said, Even you can't suppress her. Could it be that her backer is very strong? Her backer is Myriad Realms Divine Son. She has a weapon bestowed by Myriad Realms Divine Sunday. As for why Myriad Realms Divine Son wants to do this, I don't know. Divine Judge said, Why would Myriad Realms Divine Son want to do this? Qin Yun's face is filled with doubt. He pondered. I have a guess. Myriad Realms Divine Son wants to use her to suppress you. It's very difficult to take back the God King Heavenly Seal in your hands. Maybe the Myriad Realms Divine Son wants to use her to take away your God King Heavenly Seal. The Divine Chief said. In short, she has great power in the Myriad Realms Divine Court. Qin Yun suddenly said with smile, Maybe she wants to suppress you. Divine Judge also said with smile, Maybe. Divine Judge, do you have a way to let me communicate with Myriad Realms Divine Son? Qin Yun has always wanted to communicate with Myriad Realms Divine Sunday. After I return, I will give it a try. Divine Judge said, Logically speaking, your Nine-Yang Divine Palace is connected to Myriad Realms Divine Sunday. You can completely communicate with Myriad Realms Divine Son yourself. Qin Yun shook his head and said, I can't do it. Little Palace Spirit connection with Myriad Realms Divine Son is also very strange. It can't help him build a bridge. All right, You are very curious about what important matter those powerful ancient races want to do. Divine Star Race, Divine Sword Race, and Primal Chaos Race. Their dukes suddenly left just now because of that matter. Divine Judge said with mysterious smile. Those powerful ancient races want to establish a separate region in Divine Desolate. I will prevent this from happening. What did they go to do? Qin Yun is indeed curious because even the nameless old man hid this matter from him. This is the information I obtained from Myriad Realms' Divine Sunday. Something called Blue Heavenly Cosmos will appear in the sky. There is something inside that Blue Heavenly Cosmos. As for what it is, I don't know either. Divine Judge said, it might be the inheritance from beyond the heavens. Inheritance from beyond the heavens. Qin Yun and Yun Long saw the blue square object appear through the Imperial Heaven diagram. Although this is the heavens, there is still beyond the heavens. Divine Judge said, in short, the things inside the blue heavenly cosmos must not be monopolized by the powerful ancient races. Ancient races already had a very strong power. If they obtained the inheritance from beyond the heavens, they would definitely become even stronger. At that time, they would truly be able to do whatever they wanted in Divine Desolate. Qin Yun quickly calculated in his heart. Yin Long might know more about the blue heavenly cosmos. Divine Judge, then go and investigate the matter of the blue heavenly cosmos. We need to act as soon as possible, Qin Yun said. I'll go back now and bring Thunder God's clone here. Divine Judge nodded. Qin Yun sent Divine Judge out of the heavenly palace and promptly returned to the secret room. He took out the Imperial Heaven diagram. Inside the Imperial Heaven diagram, the blue square object became even brighter. This square object looks as big as the small Myriad Realms Divine Sunday. Could it be that there's a very large space inside? Qin Yun said with a frown. I have to ask Yun Long. Chapter 22:11. Qin Yun contacted Yun Long through the Divine King Heavenly Seal. The Divine King Heavenly Seal can contact the Heavenly Tao Pawnshop's manager. This made Qin Yun secretly feel that the Heavenly Tao Pawnshop and the Heaven Creation Divine Palace back then have a very close relationship. Yun Long did not arrive immediately. Qin Yun needed to wait patiently. Qin Yun went out to find Yu Tian and told her about Blue Sky Universe. Big Brother Yun, I feel that the Heaven Creating God Palace might know something. I will go back with the people of the Heaven Creating God Palace right now. As the Palace Master, I will definitely know a lot of things. Yu Tian said. The reason why Yu Tian did this was to help Qin Yun understand the matter of Blue Sky Universe. That was because Qin Yun was definitely going to enter Blue Sky Universe's interior. It would definitely be of great help to understand more beforehand. All right, I am more at ease with the Heaven Creation Divine Palace. Qin Yun said, when Xiaoxi comes to find me, I will let her go to the Heaven Creation Divine Palace to find you. Yu Tian left the Heavenly Palace to find the people of the Heaven Creating Deity Palace. Qin Yun once again obtained the Divine Heaven Race's bloodline Divine Source. He is in a hurry to fuse with it so that his body can become stronger. I need to open up the basic profound God Tao veins as soon as possible. Qin Yun entered the secret room and fused with the bloodline Divine Source. This time, the bloodline God Source successfully fused with his physical body, causing his physical body to become stronger quickly. Because he had already cultivated the purple blood after fusing with the bloodline God Source, the improvement was not as obvious as before, but there was still some improvement. After that, Qin Yun immediately began to open up the Xian God Tao Meridian. There were 9 basic profound God Tao Meridians. After opening them, only the Heavenly Tao was left. It would definitely be extremely difficult to open up the profound God Tao veins of the Heavenly Tao. Now, he could only take it one step at a time. The 7th mystical God Tao Meridian was opened through the Heavenly Lion Tao image, which allowed him to use the Heavenly Lion Tao image's power better. Qin Yun gave it a try and discovered that the Nether Realm Heavenly Lion he summoned is even stronger. Furthermore, The nether realm heavenly lion was not black in color. Instead, it had turned fiery red, and its entire body was filled with the divine power of the myriad realms' divine Sunday. Xiao Ming, you have changed a lot, Qin Yun said in amazement. In the netherworld realm, I can also absorb the divine power of the myriad realms' divine sun. Not only me, the entire nine nether realm has changed a lot. The nether realm heavenly lion said. Qin Yun nodded. He had previously entrusted the nether realm heavenly lion to contact the netherworld great emperor in the nine netherworld realm, but he failed to contact him. After summoning the nether realm heavenly lion, Qin Yun immediately went to find Xie Wufeng. Xie Wufeng was still in the Nine Yang Divine Palace. It was Qin Yun who asked him to stay for a period of time to help guide the Sword Hall sword cultivators. It was very rare for a sword god of the divine court of the myriad worlds to give him pointers. It is only because Qin Yun has the face to invite Xie Wufeng. Otherwise, with Xie Wufeng's character, it would be very difficult to invite him. In addition, the pill god and the medicine god also temporarily stayed in the Nine Yang Divine Palace to help concoct pills. The Divine Palace of Nine Yang had 9 halls, namely the Sky Hall, Dragon Hall, Beast Hall, Fire Hall, Thunder Hall, Sword Hall, Pill Hall, Rune Hall, and Soul Hall. Now, only the Dragon Hall and the Sword Hall had more people. They also had 2 elders with passable strength. They were the Dragon Hall Elder and the Sword Hall Elder. The Beast Hall Elder had died in vain. The Beast Hall mainly consisted of beasts. For example, the Mother Bear and the Old Yellow Snake were both from the Beast Hall. However, there were not many of them. The Pill Hall has already withered. There is no pill master overseeing it. The Soul Hall mainly consists of all kinds of spirit bodies. Now, there is only the Little Palace Spirit. As for the Inscription Hall, it is in charge of inscription, tool refining, talisman crafting, and formation setting. Now, there are only a few old inscription masters. The Thunder Hall and Fire Hall are empty. Even the Dragon Hall has declined greatly, because the Dragon Hall originally didn't even have a single dragon. It was only after the Nine Sun royal family's Imperial Dragon clan joined that things started to improve. This is also the reason why the Nine Yang Divine Palace recruited people from the Nine Sun royal family. Of course, now that Qin Yun has returned, with him overseeing things, they can indeed improve a lot. When the Divine Inscription Mountain arrives, the Nine Yang Divine Palace will become even more lively. Qin Yun arrived at the Sword Hall and saw Xie Wufeng passing on his Sword Dao experience. Many Sword Hall disciples are patiently listening. Even the elders of the Sword Hall were taking notes. Shen Ruoming, Shun Changhao, and other divine Heaven Clan sword cultivators are also listening very earnestly. Qin Yun is listening from the side. In his heart, he is secretly amazed at Xie Wufeng's Sword Dao attainment. It is indeed very profound. Xie Wufeng's current cultivation is only slightly low. If he could reach Sacred God Realm, he would definitely become a very strong sword cultivator. He is much more powerful than Sword God back then. Qin Yun sighed in his heart. After waiting for more than an hour, Xie Wufeng also stopped and let the disciples exchange pointers. Boss Xie, with your guidance, the Sword Hall will rise very quickly. Qin Yun saw Xie Wufeng walk over and said with a smile. Everyone is secretly startled. They know that Xie Wufeng stayed behind because of Palace King Qin Yun's face. They just didn't expect that this one-armed sword god is actually the Palace King's big brother. Their relationship is very good. It is clear that they have known each other for a long time. Xie Wufeng faintly smiled, and then followed Qin Yun to the Heavenly Palace. Brother Yun, this is for you. Xie Wufeng took out a pearl and handed it over to Qin Yun. This is Bloodline Divine Origin. What race is Bloodline Divine Origin? Qin Yun said in shock. It's Nine Nether race. I am a member of the Nine Nether race. I came into contact with them in the Nine Nether realm. Xie Wufeng faintly smiled. Qin Yun knows that the Netherworld Great Emperor wants to nurture Xie Wufeng into the new Nine Nether Overlord. He also learned about the Nine Nether race from the nameless old man, but he never met them before. He did not expect that the Nine Nether Race would send people to witness the birth of the divine sword, and Xia Wufeng is their representative. Many thanks. Qin Yin very much needs bloodline divine origin. We have been brothers for so many years. No need to be so polite. Xia Wufeng laughed heartily. Oh, that's right. How are second brother Morong, third brother Hua, and the others? Qin Yin asked. They are in Nether Sect. They will come here after a period of time. Also your disciple Su Xiaoba will also come. Xia Wufeng said with smile. That guy Xiaoba has always been with them? Qin Yin cannot help but laugh. This Su Xiaoba has given himself a very awesome name. He is called Su Wudi Batian. There is also Hong Yen. Do you remember him? This guy is an expert in using fire. Your fire hall is lacking people. You can consider him. Xia Wufeng said. Of course I remember him. He is second brother Morong's best friend. Qin Yin said with smile. He cannot help but think of Hong Mangshu. Hong Mangshu is also Xiao Yuamei's favorite little sister. She is now in Guanghan Palace. She has a pair of ponytails. She is a delicate and exquisite beauty. Xia Wufeng said. Old boy Yun, do you remember the Jin family from back then? Qin Yin said with smile. Of course I remember Jin Ruyan, Jin Linglong. They're both in Guanghan Palace. Jin family also has many of my friends, Jin Meng, Jin Shirtian. There's also that bastard Jin Nanhu. They are all in heaven's divine desolate. Your sword hall is lacking people. You can let them come. I can let the entire Jin family join your sword hall. Xia Wufeng said. All right, you are very welcome. Qin Yin promptly said. Jin family can come to heaven's divine desolate. They must have great ability. All right, I will contact them. Xia Wufeng nodded and said, You are very familiar with them. You can rest assured and let them stay in Nanyang Divine Palace. Boss Xia, are Bao Changsho, Chu Binyu, and the other old seniors still there? Qin Yun asked. They have always been in Nether Sect. In short, you had a good relationship with them back then. I know them very well, so I invited them to join Nether Sect. Xia Wufeng said. What about Foster Father? He is the Nine Nether Overlord. Now that he has passed on his position to you, is he working hard for Heavenly Law Pawn Shop all day long? Qin Yun asked. Qin Yun feels very regretful that Netherworld Great Emperor sold him out just like that. This is Foster Father's own choice. Xia Wufeng is also in the same mood as Qin Yun. He sighed and said, He seems to be very happy, but I don't know if he regrets this matter or not. Boss Xia, do you know about the Blue Sky Universe? Qin Yun suddenly recalled this matter. I only know that 9 Nether Races experts did not go to observe the Divine Sword's birth. Instead, they rushed towards the Blue Sky Universe. I don't know anything else. Xia Wufeng said. Qin Yun said, There is an inheritance from beyond the heavens inside the Blue Sky Universe. Those powerful ancient races want to monopolize this inheritance. I suspect that the inheritance from beyond the heavens can allow ordinary people to become very strong. That is why the powerful ancient races are working together to seal this matter. I asked a friend from 9 Nether Race before. He said that he signed a soul contract and cannot tell me about this matter. It seems like this matter is very important. It cannot be leaked out. Xia Wufeng's brows are creased. It is very likely that the upper echelons of the powerful ancient races are plotting something. Boss Xia, what do you think about this matter? Qin Yun asked. If it is an inheritance from beyond the heavens, then it should not belong to anyone in heaven's divine desolate. Everyone should fight for it with their own ability. If it is obtained by the powerful ancient races, their strength will increase by 1 step, and they will forever rule over heaven's divine desolate. This is not a good thing. Xia Wufeng said. Qin Yun nodded and said, I also think so. I am currently using many channels to inquire about this matter. Once everything is clear, we will set off. All right, Xia Wufeng said with a smile. I will call Foster Father and see if he has time. Soon after, Qin Yun carved an even more profound sword totem on Xia Wufeng's origin sword. This time the sword totem is a god-level totem that Qin Yun modified himself. It is also a flowing Dao Yin totem, and it is not that easy to use it. Even if Xiao Wufeng obtained this kind of incomparably profound totem, he would not be able to unleash its power in a short period of time. Therefore, Qin Yun told Xiao Wufeng to properly comprehend it and then pass it down. He is the sword god. Passing down the sword Dao is also the sword god's responsibility. Xiao Wufeng knows that the Dao Yin sword totem Qin Yun gave him can allow him to reach a higher level on the path of sword Dao, so he immediately went to comprehend it. Qin Yun, on the other hand, went to fuse with the Nine Nether bloodline divine source. Being able to obtain the Nine Nether race's bloodline divine source is extremely unexpected to Qin Yun. He was just worrying about how to improve his body. Chapter 22:12. Qin Yun has already opened the 7 profound divine Dao meridian. Next is the 8th and 9th meridian. Now that he has obtained the bloodline divine source of the Nine Nether race, he quickly placed it into the Nether Sun to refine and fuse it. If everything goes smoothly, I will be able to open the 8th profound divine Dao meridian. Qin Yun's speed of refining the bloodline divine source is getting faster and faster. While refining and fusing, he unexpectedly discovered that the bloodline divine source of the Nine Nether race has a rather obvious effect on him. He thought that since he had fused with too many bloodline divine source, and that he had that purple blood, his growth space was close to saturation. Now that he has fused with the bloodline divine source of the Nine Nether race, his improvement is quite great. It seems like just this bloodline divine source can help me smoothly open the 8th profound divine Dao meridian. Qin Yun previously estimated that he would need to fuse with 2 different races' bloodline divine source to improve his body and open the 8th profound divine Dao meridian. Ling Yuner said, "Xiao Yun, these are the basic divine profound Dao images. Opening the profound divine Dao meridian is relatively easy. The most difficult should be the heavenly Dao image." Qin Yun sighed. "When the time comes, I will definitely be tormented. Next, I will wait for the divine moon race's bloodline divine source. If you fuse with the divine moon race's bloodline divine source, you will be able to open the 9th divine profound Dao image. If you can also obtain the bloodline divine source of the divine star race, Nether Sun race, and divine sword race, then you should be able to open the 10th profound divine Dao meridian. Divine star race and Nether Sun race's bloodline divine source is indeed rather difficult to obtain, but no matter how difficult it is, he must obtain it." A few days later, Qin Yun smoothly fused and opened the 8th meridian through the divine dragon Dao image. Next is the Nether Sun Dao image's Dao meridian. Qin Yun can feel that his divine power is increasing very quickly. Now, even if he were to face the heavenly gods of the ancient races, he would be able to deal with them barehanded. Most of the heavenly god experts of the ancient races are earls. Shen Changhao is a saint god, a marquis. If Qin Yun did not rely on equipment, it would be rather difficult to defeat him. If he used equipment, he should be able to fight evenly. If Marquis Shi had known how powerful Qin Yun was and had prepared to risk his life ahead of time, Qin Yun would not have been able to finish him off so easily. I have opened all the divine, profound Dao meridians. Defeating the sacred gods of the ancient races is not a problem. Maybe it's a tie with the Duke. Qin Yun had yet to come into contact with the Dukes of the powerful primordial races, so he temporarily did not know their approximate strength. His estimation of the strength of the Dukes was based on the strength of the Marquises. After Qin Yun came out, he learned that the divine chief judge has arrived. He asked the little temple spirit to teleport him to the living room where the Grand Inquisitor was. The Grand Inquisitor held a pagoda in his hand, within which was a clone of the God of Thunder. The God of Thunder is inside the tower. I don't know what method this guy used to divide the deity position into 2 parts. The God's judge said, the God of Thunder's doppelganger had lost its main body and had become sluggish. This was mainly because his main body had been completely annihilated by Qin Yun. Therefore, his avatar was severely affected. Qin Yun took out the Divine King Heavenly Seal and took back Lightning God's deity position. The thunder god's godly position was a small hammer that flashed with lightning. It could also turn into a bead. Chief Divine Judge, have you investigated the matter with Blue Sky Universe? Qin asked. No clue yet. I will continue to investigate. We don't even know where Blue Sky Universe is. Divine Judge said. Blue Sky Universe is in the sky above God Desolate. Divine Judge, you actually don't know? Qin asked. Of course I know it's in the sky, but God Desolate is so big. Which region is it in the sky? Blue Sky Universe is not as big as Myriad Realms' Divine Sun. How can it be so easy to see? Divine Judge shook his head and said, All right, then we will contact each other again. Qin said, Remember our agreement. When I find a suitable person, you will pass the deity position to my people. Divine Judge said. Qin said with smile, Don't worry, I will definitely fulfill the agreement. Just as the Divine Judge was about to leave, he suddenly stopped and said with grave expression, You must pay attention to the love god. When I went back to see her, I felt that she is completely different. Her strength has become even stronger. The smile on Qin face also disappeared. He slowly nodded his head. After the Divine Judge left, Qin waited for more than half a day, and Yunlong finally arrived. Yunlong arrived at the living room and hastily said, You, why are you still here? Head shopkeeper Yunlong, why do you say that? Qin said with a smile, I am the Nine Yang Palace King. If I don't stay here, where should I go? Of course I'm going to find Blue Sky Universe. Yunlong said anxiously, I'm still waiting for you to find Blue Sky Universe and inform me. Qin was startled and said with a wry smile, I called you here because I want you to tell me where Blue Sky Universe is. I don't know where it is. If I knew, I would have told you long ago and brought you to cause a ruckus. Yunlong curled his lips and said, Those ancient races clearly know, but they are unwilling to tell me. Qin sighed softly. Looks like I have to personally take action. If you find it, remember to call me. Yunlong said. Wait, I'll find out where Blue Sky Universe is. You have to make a deal with me. Qin said with a smile. You are a businessman. You should understand what I mean. All right, I'll exchange some things for you when the time comes. Yunlong said with a look of disdain. You are truly a goose that plucks feathers. After Yunlong left, Qin took out the soul-chasing talisman. It is to find Yushi. He has to go find Yushi and ask her. Because Yushi said that she would go to the Divine Moon Clan to take a look. The Divine Moon Clan is a powerful ancient race. They definitely know where Blue Sky Universe is. Yushi and the others might not know either. But this is a breakthrough. Qin discovered that Yushi is quite close to him through this soul-chasing talisman. Could it be that she is coming to find me? Qin changed into a set of black clothes and flew in the sky at night to find Yushi. Yushi is indeed rushing to the Nine Yang Divine Palace. Qin flew out of the Nine Yang Divine Palace for more than 4 hours and met Yushi on the road. Yushi is also wearing a black tight suit and a black mask. Xiaoyan, why are you here? When Yushi saw Qin, she took off her mask. Her ice-cold and beautiful face is somewhat surprised as she said, Where is Yu Tian? She went to the Heaven Creation God Palace and also became the Palace Master. Qin said with a smile, She will soon become the new Heaven Creation Palace Master. Oh, that's right. Your Nine Yang Emperor Sword is also with her. Yushi suddenly pulled Qin's hand and flew in the sky with him. She said in low voice, Xiaoyun, I just returned from the Divine Moon Clan's ship. We obtained the Divine Moon Bloodline Divine Source. Is the Bloodline Divine Source in your hands? Qin asked. Not in my hands. Sister Bingxing has it, Yushi said. But she encountered a situation and can't leave the Divine Moon Clan's ship for the time being. What situation? She was left behind by the Divine Moon Clan? Qin is suddenly very worried. No, Divine Moon Clan and Divine Yang Clan ship met. Sister Bingxing said that she wanted to stay behind to help the Divine Moon Clan. Yushi said, Divine Yang Clan? Qin has never heard of this powerful race before. He said, What about the Nether Sun Clan? Did the Divine Sun Clan and the Divine Moon Clan fight? Originally, there were Nether Sun Clan and Heaven Sun Clan, but later they merged and became the Divine Yang clan. They did not fight. Instead, they are discussing something. Sister Bingxing is worried that the Divine Moon clan will be bullied by the Divine Yang clan. So she came down. Yushi said, "What about Sister Shuyin and Sister Rujing?" Qin Yun said again, "There is also Sister Xingshun. Are they together?" "They are together. Sister Shuyin and Sister Bingxing are both 9-sun divine maidens. If they stay behind, they could deter the Divine Yang clan." Yushi tightly held Qin Yun's hand. Apparently, she is somewhat restless. Qin Yun suddenly pulled her back and made her stop. "Xiaoxi, what's wrong?" Qin Yun floated in the air, hugged her in his bosom, and asked softly, "I can feel that you are afraid." I also don't know." Yushi also tightly hugged Qin Yun and let out a long sigh. "Xiao Yun, I feel that something big is about to happen." Qin Yun looked at the sky. His brows are tightly knitted, and he said in deep voice, "Blue heavenly universe. Outer heaven's inheritance." Hearing Qin Yun say these words, Yushi's delicate body suddenly trembled. "Xiao Yun, you know," Yushi said in low voice. "I only heard of it, but I don't know where it is." Qin Yun said, "Yu Tian also doesn't know. All the powerful ancient races want to enter the blue heavenly universe because there are very powerful inheritances inside," Yushi said in low voice. "Obtaining those inheritances will allow one to obtain even more formidable power. I am worried. I am worried that the powerful ancient races will obtain those inheritances and then kill you." Qin Yun's identity is very special. Yushi and the other 9-sun divine maidens all know about it. "Don't be afraid. Nothing will happen to me." Qin Yun faintly smiled, then tightly hugged Yushi. "Let's go find Sister Bingxing." Yushi's mission in the past was to protect Qin Yun. Now she feels that the person she wanted to protect is going to face powerful enemies. So she feels uneasy. At daybreak, Qin Yun and Yushi arrived above a mountain range. Above the mountain range, there are 2,000 to 3,000 meter long huge ships. They belong to Divine Moon race and Divine Yang race. "Xiao Yun, wait outside. Divine Moon race are all women. I can't take you in," Yushi said. "I will let Sister Bingxing and the others come out." "Oh, that's right. The Divine Moon race's bloodline divine origin is rather special. You can't fuse with it alone. In, I will wait for you below." Qin Yun landed on a mountain, took out the floating cloud pagoda, and placed it on top of the mountain. Yushi promptly flew towards the Divine Moon race's ship. The Divine Moon race's ship is rather special. The bow and stern of the ship are curved. The ship's hull is golden. The whole ship looks like a curved moon. The Divine Yang race's ship is square. The whole ship is flickering with dazzling light like the scorching sun. Chapter 22:13. Qin Yun's floating cloud pagoda used to be a very powerful 9-suns sky-raising pagoda. However, the pagoda had been worn down by the passage of time and experienced all kinds of destruction. The current 9-suns sky-raising pagoda looked like a huge square pillar with potholes on the outside. However, the interior was still intact. Qin Yun could have a very safe refuge in the pagoda. Qin Yun was studying the imperial sky chart inside the floating cloud pagoda. He was very serious and very engrossed. Just as he was completely immersed in the imperial sky chart, there was a sudden boom, and the floating cloud pagoda shook violently. "Someone is attacking the pagoda." Qin Yun came to his senses and quickly went to the first level. He could easily see the situation outside. Sure enough, there were 2 people standing outside. Both of them were wearing golden white robes. Their robes were embroidered with many profound sun runes. Qin Yun was shocked when he saw those sun runes because he had never seen such sun runes before. Although they were only bright runes, they looked very profound and powerful. Are these people from the Divine Yang race? Qin Yun thought. The 2 people outside looked like young men. It was one of them who attacked the floating cloud pagoda. "What's the matter?" Qin Yun asked when he saw that they were about to continue attacking. He was only talking. He did not go out or open the door to let them see what was going on inside. So there are people inside, the young man with a wide forehead said in surprise. The material of this stone pagoda is formed from a divine object in the sun's core. Where did you get it? The other young man, who looked more calm, asked loudly. This is my pagoda, Qin said. It has been with me for many years. The material used in the floating cloud pagoda was indeed very mysterious and powerful. It also came from the sun. As for what material it was, Qin was not too sure because he could not clearly see what was inside the floating cloud pagoda. The calm young man said, I am from the divine Yang race. My name is Yang Jincheng. This person beside me is my junior brother, Yang Xiaoquan. Qin had already guessed that these two people were from the divine Yang race, so he was not surprised. Oh, Qin replied casually. Before Yu Shi and the others arrived, he didn't want to interact with people from the divine Yang race. He didn't know what kind of trash the divine Yang race was. The main reason was that these two people attacked the floating cloud pagoda just now, but they did not apologize. Therefore, Qin felt that these two people's character was not very good. We have already stated our names. What about you? Yang Xiaoquan shouted coldly. Who are you? What clan are you from? What does who I am and where I come from have to do with you? Qin replied coldly. You. Yang Xiaoquan was furious. He wanted to continue attacking the tower, but was stopped by Yang Jincheng. Yang Jincheng said, Please come out. Let's talk face to face. Not coming out, Qin replied coldly. Yang Xiaoquan is a rather arrogant person. When he heard Qin's reply, he immediately became furious. He punched the floating cloud pagoda. The floating cloud pagoda trembled from the impact. Although it was not a big deal, it infuriated Qin. Inside the floating cloud pagoda, Qin could feel the aura of divine power outside. Yang Xiaoquan's cultivation is not low. He is a heavenly god. The heavenly gods of the powerful ancient races are all very powerful existences. They can easily defeat the sacred gods of ordinary human race. However, in front of Qin, they were unable to withstand a single blow. Just like Shinraming from before, he was a famous young genius among the powerful ancient races. However, in front of Qin, he was completely defeated. I will give you one chance. Quickly bow and apologize to my pagoda. Otherwise, I will treat you the same way you treated my pagoda. Qin's ice-cold voice came out. Who do you think you are? Yang Xiaoquan said with sneer. Apologize to your pagoda? I can destroy your pagoda at any time. Your broken pagoda is just an antique in our eyes. We want to collect antiques, so we didn't destroy your pagoda. Brother, name your price. Sell your pagoda to me. Yang Jincheng also explained his purpose. Not selling. Qin became even more furious and said coldly, I will count to 5. If you don't apologize to my pagoda, then I won't be polite. Apologize? If you have guts, come out. I will use my fist to apologize to you. How about it? Yang Xiaoquan laughed loudly. Qin ignored Yang Xiaoquan and used a deep and cold voice to count. 1, 2, 3. Qin was a more reasonable person. Moreover, the other party was from the divine Yang race, so he also gave the divine Yang race some face. Otherwise, he would have gone out and beaten Yang Xiaoquan up. Yang Xiaoquan disapproved and sneered. Hurry up and come out. Don't pretend inside. 5. After Qin finished counting, he suddenly rushed out of the floating cloud pagoda. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of Yang Xiaoquan. After Qin went out, a large number of tree vines suddenly surged out from the ground and turned into many tree claws, binding Yang Xiaoquan's hands and legs. At the same time, a powerful suffering divine power was transmitted through the tree claws into Yang Xiaoquan's body. Yang Xiaoquan immediately screamed, his expression filled with fear and pain. Feeling Qin's terrifying power, Yang Jincheng, who was beside him, was so frightened that he didn't dare to attack. From his aura, he could see how powerful Qin was and how he could easily kill them. Qin didn't even look at Yang Jincheng, who was beside him. He slowly reached out a hand, injected a large amount of power, and then pressed down on Yang Xiaoquan's shoulder. He placed his hand on Yang Xiaoquan's shoulder and forcefully pressed Yang Xiaoquan down. Yang Xiaoquan was forced to kneel. His body was bound by the tree claws formed by the tree vines, and he was in extreme pain. He had no choice but to kneel. Thump! Yang Xiaoquan's knees landed heavily on the ground, and then his forehead was smashed into the ground by Qin Yun, breaking a hard rock. Just like that, Yang Xiaoquan knelt and kowtowed in front of the floating cloud pagoda. He couldn't move at all, and he was also suffering the torture of the suffering divine power. Qin Yun glanced coldly at Yang Zhenchong and said, "My pagoda is not for sale. Get lost." A murderous aura enveloped Yang Zhenchong, scaring him into running away. Qin Yun snorted and returned to the floating cloud pagoda. Outside, Yang Xiaoquan was still kneeling there, wailing. Qin Yun returned to the floating cloud pagoda and continued to study his imperial heavenly painting. He was not afraid of angering the divine Yang race at all. He was not even afraid of the primal chaos race, the divine star race, and the divine sky race. So even if the divine Yang race joined in, it was nothing to him. Qin Yun was just studying the imperial heavenly painting, but he had just made some progress when he was interrupted, so he was in a hurry to continue studying. Not long after, Yang Zhenchong returned with a group of people. There were dozens of them. Qin Yun looked outside from the highest level of the floating cloud pagoda and saw that the dozens of people were not bad. He guessed that they were Saint God realm experts. He quickly opened many array formations. Even if the floating cloud pagoda was attacked, it would reduce the tremors. No matter how noisy it was outside, he would not go out before Yu Shi and the others arrived. Yang Xiaoquan was kneeling outside, his body wrapped in many tree vines and tree roots. They were all formed by runes. Qin Yun had condensed a powerful tree totem in an instant, and inside the tree totem, there were other runes that drilled into Yang Xiaoquan's body and even combined with his powerful mental power to enter Yang Xiaoquan's soul. Those tree vines were entangled with Yang Xiaoquan's body and soul. It was very difficult to get rid of them, and it would also cause Yang Xiaoquan to suffer. Qin Yun had given Yang Xiaoquan a chance just now, but Yang Xiaoquan did not know how to cherish it. Yang Zhenchong was outside and told the situation here to an old man. That elder was his master. The old man was long and thin, with an eagle nose and sharp eyebrows. He was dressed very well and had a very imposing manner. He had his hands behind his back, and his expression was calm as he listened to Yang Zhenchong's narration. After the old man finished listening, he looked at the floating cloud pagoda and said in a clear voice, "This old man is Su Chunxiu, Yang Xiaoquan's master. This stubborn disciple offended you, and it is also this old man's fault for not teaching him properly. Please forgive him." Qin Yun heard Su Chunxiu's voice, but did not respond. Instead, he continued to study the imperial heavenly painting. Su Chunxiu frowned and looked at Yang Xiaoquan angrily. He scolded in a low voice, "Look at the trouble you have caused. Master, quickly save me. I am in so much pain." Yang Xiaoquan wailed, "Master can't save you. This is a very brilliant inscription battle technique. Even Master's father might not be able to help you escape." Su Chunxiu could tell with a glance that these tree vines are very strange. Qin Yun's inscription technique has already reached the acme of perfection. He has grasped a large number of inscription spirits. Adding his 9 lives and 9 lives, his understanding of inscription is not something that anyone can compare to. Furthermore, he has grasped the heavenly eye, allowing him to use inscription with even greater proficiency. Su Chunxiu naturally knew that Qin Yun did not respond on purpose to punish Yang Xiaoquan. The fact that you are still alive is already a great fortune. Su Chunxiu said again, "Master, then how can I escape now?" Yang Zhenchong is also very afraid because Qin Yun looks like a young man, but his aura is like the might of heaven's wrath. Wait for it to disperse by itself. Su Chunxiu said, "Master, you are Marquis. How about you go to the Duke and take down this pagoda?" Yang Zhenchong looked at the floating cloud pagoda. "Shut up," Su Chunxiu promptly shouted. At this time, a young, beautiful, tall and slender woman in red skirt flew over. Seeing this woman, Yang Zhenchong and the other youngsters are all dumbstruck. Su Chunxiu promptly said, "Yu Clan's heavenly daughter, you came at the right time. We have encountered a bit of trouble. Please help us." The Yu Clan's heavenly daughter's beautiful jade-like face is filled with shock. Seeing Yang Xiaoquan being entangled by tree vines and roots, she can't help but frown and said in low voice, "What a brilliant technique. Who did this?" Su Chunxiu looked at the floating cloud pagoda, shook his head, and said, "This old man also doesn't know. I only know that my little disciple provoked an expert." The Yu Clan's heavenly daughter looked at the floating cloud pagoda and also felt that this pagoda is very unusual. Chapter 22:14. The Yu Clan goddess seemed to have a very high status. Even Su Chunxiu, a marquis elder, was very respectful to her. Seeing a beauty like the Yu Clan goddess beside him, Yang Xiaoquan had to endure the pain. He hated Qin Yin even more for making him look so ugly in front of such a beauty. The Yu Clan goddess was very beautiful, but Yang Xiaoquan, Yang Jincheng, and the other divine Yang race youths had seen a few of her level. However, the Yu Clan goddess had an additional status. This kind of beauty with an extremely high status was above the common people. Furthermore, she had a kind of cold and aloof temperament that made men have a very strong desire to conquer her. This kind of inscription battle technique is very brilliant. It will take some time to unravel. The Yu Clan goddess said after watching for a while. Really? The Yu Clan goddess truly lives up to her reputation. She is indeed the most talented genius of the divine moon race. Su Chunxiu said with a look of pleasant surprise. The Yu Clan goddess smiled lightly and said, "This little girl also saw that the technique is very brilliant. That's why I wanted to see if I could unravel it." Yang Jincheng and a group of divine Yang race youth were filled with admiration. Although they were the more talented geniuses of the divine Yang race, in front of this Yu Clan goddess, they all felt inferior. Wait for the divine moon to come out at night. With the help of the divine moon's power, we will definitely be able to break these inscriptions. The Yu Clan goddess took out some silver-white small array flags and began to place them near Yang Xiaoquan. Su Chunxiu and the others also made a large area for the Yu Clan goddess to display her skills. Yang Jincheng stood behind Su Chunxiu and asked in a low voice, "Master, I heard that there are only 4 Yu Clan goddesses. Do you know which one they are? How did they become Yu Clan goddesses?" The divine moon race originally had 3 Yu Clan goddesses. Recently, there were 2 more. I have seen this Yu Clan goddess before. It shouldn't be the last 2. Su Chunxiu replied in a low voice. He also did not know which Yu Clan goddess this was. The holy daughter of the Yu Clan, who was setting up the formation, could hear the conversation between the master and disciple. She smiled and said, "There are 5 holy daughters of the Yu Clan. They are Qin, Qi, Shu, Hua, and Wu. I am Hua. It was snowing on the day I was born, so I was named Yu Huaxue. Just thinking about the scenery of snow on the moon, it's beautiful. You really live up to your name." Yang Jincheng quickly praised loudly. The other young men from the divine Yang race also praised Yu Huaxue's name. Yu Huaxue just smiled leisurely and continued to draw the patterns. Su Chunxiu also knew what the men from the divine Yang race were thinking. He secretly despised them because Yu Huaxue was not worthy of them. The Moon Clan's heavenly ladies are the beloved disciples of the divine Moon Clan's emperor. They are treated like their own daughters by the divine Moon Clan's emperor. Their status is comparable to the divine Moon Clan's 5 great dukes. Even the 10 grand dukes of the mystic Moon Clan are far inferior to the holy maiden. Su Chunxiu said, pouring cold water on Yang Jincheng's group. His status was comparable to that of a king. This made them feel despair. Not to mention a king, even the daughter of a grand duke was unattainable to them. Yu Huaxue quickly smiled and said, "Marquis Su, you think too highly of me. Be in terms of strength or contribution, I am far inferior to the grand dukes of the divine Moon Clan." Su Chunxiu smiled and said, "Holy maiden, you are too humble. The divine Moon Clan's the Arch chooses disciples like daughters. Those who catch her, I will naturally have a bright future." It is only a matter of time before they become kings. Su Chunxiu only let the young disciples of the divine Yang race know that the lady in front of them was someone they could only look up to. Yu Huaxue just shook her head and smiled. She changed the topic and said, I also felt that something was wrong here. That's why I came to take a look. This pagoda is really impressive. The materials used are all extremely rare and precious within the heavenly sun. The person in the pagoda must be an expert. Su Chunxiu looked at the floating cloud pagoda. That fellow seems to be only at the profound god realm. Yang Shaoquan gritted his teeth and said, if he was really that impressive, he would not have hidden inside and refused to come out. Profound god? Yu Huaxue frowned and said, you are at the heavenly god realm. Yang Shaoquan's face turned red. He felt extremely embarrassed and quickly said, that fellow can only suppress me because he has mastered evil techniques. Otherwise, I would not have sealed him here. You were in the wrong in the first place. Su Chunxiu said in a low voice, you attacked the pagoda for no reason. Not to mention the first time, but you still attacked the pagoda knowing that there is a master. This is your fault. That fellow was too arrogant first. Yang Shaoquan still felt that he was at fault. Yu Huaxue looked at the sky and said softly, the divine moon is coming out. When the divine moon comes out, I will be able to untie these tree vines. Inside the floating cloud pagoda, Qin Yun was seriously studying the imperial sky diagram. At the same time, he was also paying attention to the situation outside. However, he did not take it to heart because he had made a great discovery in the imperial sky diagram. The imperial sky diagram could sense the blue sky. Otherwise, the image of the blue sky would not have appeared on the imperial sky diagram. This imperial sky diagram is truly magical. There's a very strong perception inside. Can it sense everything in the world? Qin Yun had secretly tried it before and discovered that through the imperial sky diagram, he could absorb the divine power of the myriad realms' divine Sunday. The method of absorption was very strange. It was not directly absorbing the divine power of the myriad realms' divine sun, but the interior of the imperial sky diagram, as if it could connect to the myriad realms' divine Sunday. In other words, if Qin Yun was in a completely sealed barrier and was unable to sense the divine power of the myriad realms' divine sun, then through the imperial sky diagram, he could also absorb a large amount of divine power. Furthermore, the imperial sky diagram's special perception of the blue sky allowed Qin Yun to roughly sense a direction. As for where the blue sky was, he was not sure. He could only search for it through the direction of the imperial sky diagram. Once I fuse with the divine moon bloodline divine origin, I can set off. The inheritance from beyond the heavens cannot be obtained by only the powerful ancient races. Qin Yun put away the imperial sky diagram and looked at the divine moon in the sky. The powerful ancient races wanted to rule the entire divine desolate. If they obtained a powerful inheritance from beyond the heavens and became even more powerful, then it would be very difficult for the other races and creatures in the divine desolate to resist them. If the many powerful ancient races who possessed the inheritance from beyond the heavens started a war in the divine desolate, it would be a huge disaster for the entire divine desolate. Outside the floating cloud pagoda, Yang Shaoquan knelt on the ground, his entire body in pain. Because there was a beauty beside him, he could only grit his teeth and endure the pain, not daring to shout. Yu Huaxue has already inserted the flag array and used the power of the blood spirit to draw many runes. After the divine moon came out, the moonlight shone down and was guided into the flag array. Qin Yun saw the runes drawn by Yu Huaxue inside the pagoda and said with a frown, "This Moon Clan's heavenly daughter actually has the Moon Lady inscription spirit. She is quite powerful." Xiao Yun, this bastard Yang Shaoquan, still doesn't know his wrongs, but he is about to escape. Ling Yuner said, "If you continue to suppress him, you will offend the beauties of the divine Moon Clan." Qin Yun curled his lips and said, "So what if they are beauties of the divine Moon Clan? Can't I offend her? I'm not afraid of offending her." Not to mention the beauties of the Divine Moon clan. Didn't I kill the guys from the Primal Chaos race, Divine Sword race, and Divine Star race? The former Nine-Yang Palace King was beaten up by the children of the Primal Chaos race, causing him to be afraid for a long time. He obtained a bloodline that is even stronger than that of the powerful ancient races. Now, the aura of the Palace King is even stronger. He is no longer afraid of any powerful ancient races. The tree roots and vines wrapped around Yang Xiaoquan's body suddenly loosen a lot. Yang Xiaoquan, Su Chunxiu, and the others all revealed a look of pleasant surprise. However, at this moment, a burst of golden light suddenly flashed from the floating cloud pagoda. The golden light turned into a net and directly enveloped Yang Xiaoquan's body. The net was formed by powerful sun runes. It was drawn in an instant using inscription battle technique, using the Yang Emperor inscription spirit. The net enveloped Yang Xiaoquan's body and Yu Huashue's flag array. Yu Huashue's flag array immediately emitted intense flames. Heat waves surged, causing the surrounding people to cry out in anger. Yang Xiaoquan also let out a blood-curdling scream because the pain he was enduring was intensifying. The tree roots and vines wrapped around his body were all emitting flames. Complex, flowing runes lingered on the surface. The sun runes were like thin flame electric threads that flowed on the tree roots and vines. As they flowed, they frantically absorbed the divine power of heaven and earth to increase the power of the runes. This expanding sun rune, moreover, it is at the divine tier. The finesse is extremely high, and the power of the blood soul is strong. This caused Yu Huashue's face to turn pale. How dare you destroy the Yu clan's goddess's flag array? A divine Yang race middle-aged man shouted angrily and was about to attack the floating cloud pagoda. The Yu clan's goddess's flag array is so precious. She used it to save my divine Yang race clansmen. Yet, you obstructed her from doing so. Not only are you the divine moon race's enemy, you are also the divine Yang race's enemy. A divine Yang race youth said angrily. Su Chunxiu's ice-cold gaze immediately swept towards his two clansmen. At the same time, he also signaled the others to shut up. Yu Huashua looked at the floating cloud pagoda and said with a frown, "Did what this little girl did offend, Senior? You did indeed offend me." Qin Yun replied coldly. "My pagoda is like my friend. That bastard attacked the pagoda twice. I gave him a chance to apologize. Not only did he not apologize, he even spoke ill of me. Even now, he still doesn't know how to repent." Yu Huashua bit her lip because this was indeed her fault. She was saving someone else's enemy. Naturally, others had to stop her. "Friend, this old man has already apologized on behalf of my disciple," Su Chunxiu hurriedly said. Qin Yun said mockingly, "Then can you take the punishment on his behalf? That fellow is not mute and is not dead. He can still speak. You, as his master, did not let him personally apologize to me. Instead, you apologized on his behalf. Isn't this condoning him? How about I kill him, and you stay alive for him?" You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.